You're listening to the Bleacher Brothers Show, the most unique sports show in the world because these guys don't really know anything about sports.
Yay!
Ready to go.
I think I'm ready to go. After a 20-minute intro, I think I'm ready to go. You are listening to the Bleacher Brothers Show on 102.9 The Game. You are watching us, or you might be listening to us on Twitter, Twitch, watching us on YouTube, Facebook. You could be watching us on BleacherBrothers.com or listening to us on BleacherBrothers.com. But wherever you're tuning in from, we appreciate it. We got a jam-packed show tonight. It's NFL Draft Week, and we are on topic with our NFL Draft guests coming in tonight. We got two of them. We got the great John Arbeznik from Michigan coming in about 30. Not even 30, because the intro was so long. Shoot, let me introduce him right now. No.
Knock, knock.
That was John right there. He's knocking. Hang on, John. We'll get to you in a few minutes. But John's coming in to talk some NFL draft with us tonight. So he sent me an article right now about Michigan getting all 64 players drafted that did not portal. So we'll talk to him. We had Nick the Flick coming in, and we're going to talk Nick the Flick also about football, because we're not just talking draft. Who's getting drafted? Who's trading up? Where's this guy going to go? Where's that guy going to go? But what we're trying to do this week is get a feel of what the week of the NFL draft is like for people that are involved in it directly, whether it be a player who's in the draft. And we talked to Gerald White last night. Not Gerald Williams. He played for the Yankees. Gerald White last night. He was fantastic. And he's got a show tomorrow at noon. White Noise with Gerald White. It's absolutely fantastic. He's got I think it's William Willis, I believe, is the guy he's got on tomorrow. This guy was reading his bio earlier. Absolutely dynamite. NASCAR, clothing line. I believe he won Dancing with the Stars at one point. That's what this guy's bio was like. So tune in tomorrow to White Noise with Gerald White. But anyway, Gerald told us his story from the time he put on pads all the way till the time up to the point where he didn't get drafted. But the day after the draft, he was contacted by the Packers and the Cowboys and took a trip to Dallas and signed to play for Coach Landry. And it was really cool hearing how, just the whole journey from start to finish. So Nick the Flick used to coach football and he used to coach the Pee-wees, the little guys starting out. So we want to hear a little bit from Nick's perspective. We got more guests lined up tomorrow night to bring us up to this draft. And I'm not breaking anything. I'm not breaking anybody's heart because they threw this out on Twitter earlier. On Thursday night, I'm taking the night off because I don't work on draft nights. There's certain holidays I don't work, Stephen, and that was one I got listed in there. Fridays is a holiday I don't work. Draft day, Christmas, Easter. No, it's my kid's birthday, so I'm taking that day off. But the show will go on, and I assume, are you taking off because I'm taking off? Or are you working with the Listella and the crew, Stephen? Those useless sons of bitches, aren't they? They can't do anything for themselves, these young kids. You can't teach a new monkey old tricks, dude. You know that. But anyway, they're covering the show, And they're great, man. Robbie's great. Christian's great. Toby's great. Drew is great. And we get me and Robbie had a really great meeting today about some things that are coming up as far as Bleacher Brothers and NCAA and coverage. But they are covering the show on Thursday night, and they have a huge guest, Stephen. This is a really big deal. Did you see this get put out today? They have got the new basketball coach of the FAU Owls, John Jacobs, coming on, I believe, in the first hour with them. And then live from Detroit, Christian, our guy Christian, who I think he's on a date right now, is what he was texting. I fired him for lying because we all know he's not on a date. But if he is, we'll have to find out what the dude's name was when we do talk to Christian. But anyway, Christian will be in Detroit at the NFL draft, and he'll be reporting live from the draft on Thursday night. So we got some really, really cool stuff going on. So, hey, Stephen, you brought something up last night. You had some breaking news sort of about Aaron Boone getting tossed. And we kind of immediately dismissed it because Aaron Boone, he gets tossed a lot. You got to give the dude credit for that. The Yankees haven't won anything since Aaron Boone took over. But, man, he's got a mean Earl Weaver impression as far as getting tossed out of games. So he got tossed out, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's not really big news. But turns out when I got home last night and started reading about it, it was big news because it happened in the top of the first inning. So literally he had no time to warm his seat. And it was a bad, obviously bad umpiring because that's just that's going around baseball right now. But I guess he was chirping at the ump, and the ump told him, "Hey, Boone, shut up." And he did shut up. Steven, do you have the clip for me? He did. All right, so he did shut up. And this is what happened. All right, so let me pull this up, and let's get this on the screen. So he got tossed for not shutting up, but he actually did. So here's what we got. So see the guy in the circle right there? That guy, nobody can make him shut up. Umpire can't make him shut up. Only his wife can make him shut up, that guy right there. And apparently she wasn't around. So he decided to lay into the umpire.
Fan says something.
And Boone gets tossed. And Boone's looking like, wait, what happened?
Fan says something.
Oh yeah, there's a much longer version somewhere, but that's all right. We get the point. So Boone, even when he doesn't want to get thrown out or doesn't try to get tossed, he's getting tossed for stuff that he didn't do. Steven, you ever get accused of doing something that you didn't do, and they said, "We know you did this, Steven." Yeah. Well, you're a fan. You're allowed to chirp. Nobody can tell you to shut up. That's you pay you buy your ticket. You can voice your opinion, and just like in Philadelphia and New York, if you got an opinion, you're gonna put it out there, man. So Aaron Boone tossed yesterday for once for no fault of his own, and he did nothing to get up on the umpires. While we're on baseball, let me hit one more baseball thing real quick. And I've been screaming about this. Can you pull up that one for me, Steven? I've been screaming about this. Everybody knows Trevor Bauer, raw deal, needs to be in the major leagues. MLB is a corrupt organization. I guess we probably shouldn't try to get like all-star game credentials or anything anytime soon, but just in case anybody was wondering, like, well, what happened to Trevor Bauer? Where is he at? Here's where he is. He's trying. This is with the Mexican team, I believe. He's trying to get back. And in case you want to know what he did, here's what he did the other day here. It wasn't much, but it was a punch out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, there was only 9 in the video, but he pitched 6 innings and struck out 14. He gave up no hits, and yet no one wants to sign this dude. And he's come out and said, hey, you know what? I will sign for minimum wage, for the league minimum. Whoever wants me, just give me a chance to get back in. And if anyone ever deserved a chance, look, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, all right. But even more than that, right now, because I guess you could say Pete Rose was guilty. All right, so Pete Rose was guilty, but he still belongs in the Hall of Fame. This dude was not found guilty. As a matter of fact, he was the complete opposite. He was found innocent. He was proven innocent. As much as they wanted to charge him, as much as they wanted him to be guilty and to be a domestic abuser and whatever the hell they wanted him to be, now one of the accusers, she can end up going to jail for 15 years for fraud. So because that's just what she does. She shakes people down. So anyway, Bauer's out there and he still lights out. So I'm pretty sure he'd be a good fit on a whole lot of teams right now. Let's shift gears out of baseball for a minute, Steven, and let's go to NBA. And I don't want to really get too much into the action last night yet. But the Nuggets, the end of the Nuggets game. Well, you got to pull that clip, Steven. I didn't have you pull that clip. That was wild. There were a couple of wild endings. The Knicks and the Sixers last night was wild, and then the Nuggets Lakers was absolutely wild. But what happened afterwards has got people talking, and this is Joker's brother right here. Okay, let me pull up so I get my facts straight, or at least the facts that were reported on BleacherBrothers.com. So let me pull these up here, and let's see. This is looks like this cached into. Looks like I haven't refreshed this screen in a while. It's telling me opening day baseball here. So let me see. Oh, Zion. They say Zion's going to be back. I'll have to look at that real quick. Dude, we need scrolling music while I'm scrolling here. Where the hell is it? Yeah, it doesn't matter though. So they lost. They can't redo it. It's over. Sixers are done. And I'm a Sixer fan, so don't be starting hating on me, any of you Philly people. All right, but they're not going to do it this year. The NBA and the Denver police are looking into an incident in which a man reported to be one of the brothers of Nugget star Joker was seen punching a fan after after Denver's buzzer beater 101-99 victory over the Lakers last night. The video shared by TMZ. That's why I can't find it. It wasn't on Bleach Brothers. It was on TMZ. So let's take a look at this video first and see what the hell happened, because I haven't seen the video yet. It's kind of hard to see this video, huh? Can I blow this thing up anymore or no? I don't think I can. Okay. And where is he? I'm not seeing any punches here, but it's a bad. Are you zoom? Did you just zoom that in? Oh yeah, all right. I saw it right there. There's two. Yeah, there's two or three of them. I see it. Okay. All right. Now apparently this dude is no stranger to trouble. From what I read in this article here, he's been in trouble with the Denver police in the past for what the hell is he? There was some stuff. I don't know what it was. There was some stuff. So anyway, if your brother is the MVP of the NBA, it's probably not a good idea to go and dropping hammers on people in the stands right there. And then one other piece of news real fast on football. Let's move to football. The Houston Texans, right, Steven? They made some news today. And they unleashed for the first time, I believe, they made some changes to their gear. And we have the changes here to the Houston Texans gear. And I haven't seen this yet, so I'm going to be surprised as you are. Let's take a look and see what we got.
I ask you now to embrace the fear, to enter that darkness. Now today, we have what we call a metamorphosis.
They want more uniforms.
It is
Uniforms
defined as
to make a cool video.
genetic alteration of a cell
I feel like I'm in Jurassic Park in Universal
by
Studios.
introduction of extraneous DNA. By natural or supernatural means, to fuse man and beast into a symmetry of power. Without beast, man is not man. Without man, beast is not beast. They will forever be inseparable because the change is inevitable. And there will be no turning back.
All right, so here's a question I have for anyone out there watching. If you're listening, you couldn't see that, but did anyone with that video and the production and the probably millions that they spent on that thing, did anybody even see the uniforms? Because I really didn't pay any attention to the uniforms. I was looking at all the cool Jurassic Park type of stuff. You know what I mean, Stephen? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen though. But anyway, I got to skip over so we get ready for John here. But we need to get to our Bleacher Bet segment, okay? Because we're on fire. All right, did you know that we're on fire? We need some Bleacher Bet music here. So let me get let's get our NBA stuff here. All right, and we'll get the NBA. Oh, you got a picture of the. We'll bring them back up a little bit later. All right, we'll take a look at them. Now, let me start out so I don't forget, and Stephen doesn't remind me, or doesn't have to remind me. You got to be 21 or older. And if you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, okay? Or step away from the radio or the app or the car or your computer or whatever right now for the next couple of minutes, because we're going to say things and give you information that's going to entice you probably to feed your bad habits. So tonight's BleacherBET Sportsbook Promo of the night, and I got it here, and I think I got it right tonight, or I got it wrong yesterday. It's on the top. Promo offer, they will give you back up to $1,000 on your first bet if it loses. So go all in. If you win, boom, then you just won. Let's say it's even money, which I think I don't know what the number is right now, but let's just say it was even. If you bet 1,000, you win 1,000. Boom, beautiful. If you bet 1,000 and you lose, you get the 1,000 back in bonus bets. So how do you go wrong? So Caesars is our promo of the night, and here's what we got on our bets and our locks tonight. We got a few different ones for you. I'll go NHL first, and this was posted on the BleacherBET Instagram story an hour or so ago. We got a little parlay going for you tonight, all right? And we never said that every single pick that we put out or every parlay that we put out would be like hitting the Powerball, all right? But what we want to do is not pull stuff out of our rear ends. We want to give you good, solid winners so that you can follow like we did on Saturday. We gave you 8 picks, all 8 of them won. That's what we aim to do every single night. Can we do it every night? No, that's impossible. But to kind of swing the odds over into our favor, instead of pulling all kinds of stuff out of our rear end tonight that we're not sure about, here's what we're sure about in the NHL. 3-bet parlay. Rangers, money line. In the Ranger game, under 5.5 goals. And in the Colorado-Winnipeg game tonight, over 6.5 goals. All right, that's a plus 402. So if you bet 100, and it's plus 402, it looks like you get 502 back, but you win $402 on your 100. So that's our first one. That's your NHL tonight. Rangers money line, under 5.5 goals in the Ranger game, and then over 6.5 goals in Colorado-Winnipeg tonight. MLB. You want an MLB game, and these things are getting ready to start in the next few minutes here. I think these are both 6:40 games. Brewers against Pittsburgh. Take the Brewers minus 1.5 runs tonight. They're going to score a lot of runs tonight. They'll win easily tonight. The Brewers are a machine. I was looking at their stats earlier today, and their offense is nuts. And Rhys Hoskins, I love it, man. Rhys Hoskins is leading with five homers, and he's slugging. He's a monster. Brewers minus 1.5, and then Phillies money line. It's a plus 332. That's it. Just 2 bets in there. Again, you're not making a fortune on this, but it's plus 332. It's simple. You just need 2 things to happen. You don't need 12 different things to happen to hit this thing tonight, okay? Spirit Airlines is sending me a message. Leave me alone, Spirit. Don't you know I'm busy here right now? Oh, it's for Christian. Whatever. Hi, Christian. Your flight has been canceled. We shouldn't tell him, right? And then here's what we like in the NBA tonight, all right? And this was a really weird NBA season. Everything that was supposed to happen didn't. When teams were supposed to win, they would lose. When teams were supposed to lose, they would win. Some of these series have been much easier to predict. I mean, last night we predicted all 3 winners. We had that. We missed one because of the points, but we had all 3 last night. So I don't know what we are. We are somewhere 12 for 14, 13 for 15 on our NBA playoff pick so far. But I want to give you one that's not going to lose tonight, so I'm just giving you one, okay? One pick. Take the Pacers money line. It's even right now. It's plus 100. Take the Pacers. The Pacers will win this game tonight. They should win by 6, 7, 8 points. They will win this game tonight. Take the Pacers. That is your NBA lock of the night. So, again, real quick, we got NHL, Rangers money line, under 5.5 goals, and then over 6.5 goals, Colorado, Winnipeg. MLB, take the Brewers minus 1.5 runs, take the Phillies money line, and then in NBA, take the Pacers tonight. Just money line straight up. They're going to win that game. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, Steven. When we come back, we're going to go NFL draft with John Arbeznik. So everybody sit tight, stay where you are. We appreciate you tuning in. And we will be back right after these words.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance. care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when
We're back. It's Tuesday, 2 days before the NFL draft. We are right in the swing. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. And we're welcoming back. John, do me a favor, hit unmute on you. There you go. Beautiful. These guys are professionals. We don't have to explain anything to them. Usually, John, we tell somebody you got to unmute. It's like 30 minutes just to unmute. Welcome back, man.
Hey, it's good to be back. And I think I got a pretty cool show for you today because this is going to be a fun draft for a lot of reasons. And I figured I would just pick one story and run with it. And I've got a good one for you today.
All right, cool. And I'm going to throw you off a little bit because I'm going to stay on draft topic, but also go off draft topic because the story that I'm trying to tell this week with the guest, we had Gerald Williams last night. I believe you know Gerald.
Sure.
We interviewed at the Super Bowl this year. We interviewed a buddy of yours when your name came up, Mel Owens.
Sure.
He was my old roommate. Was he your roommate? I didn't know.
We worked out together for years. I mean, we were we probably the two of us probably spent at least 3 hours a day in just the weight room. I mean, he's have you seen the physicality of the man? He was the sixth pick in the NFL draft for the Rams, first round. So he went very quickly, and he was an incredible athlete. I got to tell you, the combination of speed, strength, and quickness was. He basically went out there and was all pro. I believe about 4 or 5 years for that great Ram defense.
He was an amazing. It was like an end of the day sort of deal, and we had wrapped up our show and the network that we're out there with. The main people were they were out of gas, and they're like, "Hey, you want to interview a doctor and a guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." With no prep, no anything. Luckily, I had Robbie Listella with me, so as I was talking to Mel, Robbie was looking him up online, and this dude's amazing. Attorney,
Plus he's an attorney. Yeah, he was a big attorney during the NFL crisis with the head injuries. And I can tell you, even the sixth pick in the first round, I'm sure, relatively speaking, that was a lot of money in 1980. It's nothing like today. But I know Mel made a whole lot more money being a lawyer against the NFL in those player benefit settlement checks that were coming out the last 4 years. And Mel was with the top echelon of that, and very, very good lawyer, as well as incredibly one of the great players in not only Michigan history, but LA Ram history.
What I got to tell you about Mel, one of the nicest, people I've ever met in my entire life. And this dude would have sat there with us forever, all night. It was the end of the day. We could have sat there until 2 a.m. talking to this guy, and we wouldn't have run out of questions. And I felt like he wasn't going to run out of answers. I mean, it was absolutely fabulous. We swapped numbers, and he's on my list. I'm going to try to text him. Do you know where he lives in California? Do you know?
He lived in Laguna Beach for years. And I remember years ago when he was playing for the Rams, and I got cut by the Saints, and then and it was I started my got cut by the Jets, and then I started my business career, and I was in about it was probably April, and I had a week off, and I flew out with Mel and stayed at his house with him on the beach. He lived on Balboa, right on the ocean, and I mean, because first pick, it was pretty nice. He had the beautiful Mercedes 380, and here he is, like 22 years old. And, he's in Hollywood. He was in movies. He was in that Eddie Murphy movie.
That's right. Distinguished Gentleman. He told us that. Yes.
Yeah, he played a congressman in that. That was a former football player from Nebraska. And so he had a star-studded life, was on TV, was in a bunch of TV shows. And it couldn't happen to a better guy. And plus, he's just a wonderful human being. And we've just been living on the wrong coast apart from each other for way too long.
John, I'm going to ask you for one favor. Do me a solid, because I'm going to text him tonight after the show because he's out west. Could you shoot him a text and say, "Hey, I was on with AJ," and I'm going to shoot him a text because I'm going to ask him to come in tomorrow night, because tomorrow night I'm packing, and it's leading up to we have a player who's in the draft.
Let me do this. I'll grab his. I got to grab his new phone number.
You want me to send it to you? I'll send it to you.
You have it. Just fire it off to me, and I'll arrange it for you.
All right. I will text him myself, but I just figured that, hey, I didn't know you guys.
I'll just tell him get on your show. Yeah.
When he called you, Flame, I think is what he's like.
Well, that was my nickname in Michigan. Yeah, that was, and it wasn't because I was redhead, and so all the coaches thought it was because of that. But
he was drinking.
Well, no, I was a teetotaler when I was in high school, so I never drank or smoked. I went to Catholic school, and I was like. I was in church every day. I was one of those guys. And when they recruited me, they tried to get you to drink. And so what they did was they handed me this shot of 151 Bacardi, and I typically just throw it over my shoulder, but I was wearing an acrylic sweater, and it happened to be lit. And you couldn't tell it was lit. If you've ever done a shot of 151 Flamin', it's difficult to see that it's actually got a flame. And so then I guess I became that flame. And that name stuck with me forever. I did go spend some time in the urgent care facility with third-degree burns, and it was interesting to explain to Bo Schembecker the next day why I was my whole neck was wrapped up, and I figured it behooved me not to tell the story because I would probably keep a couple guys on the team, and I could at least go in there, because I wanted to go to Michigan. If I didn't want to go there, that would have been a fun story.
So you were instrumental in basically getting us up there this past weekend.
Yeah.
And Robbie and Christian, they went up and they covered the spring game, and they got a tour of the campus from Jim, and they said they had a great time and it was beautiful, and it was like this is not a knock on FAU, but they said it was like, going from AA ball to playing for the Yankees type of.
It's funny. It is Yankee Stadium. I mean, in college football world. But I'll tell you this, and I'll just be as honest as I can be with you. I mean, I love FAU Stadium. And to me, that is like the coolest stadium of all time because you can sit up top, look at the ocean. You got all that beautiful campus that FAU has. And so it's funny because ours is like, it's like classic Gothic, it's the old days. And, it's a big statement and it's intimidating to people. FAU just screams out, party time, man. That place is awesome. I think it's well built. I think was it Howard Schnellenberger Field? I think it's phenomenal. So I wouldn't. Those two are two of my top 10 stadiums in the country. But if you want to talk about a trash deep hump, that's Ohio Stadium.
Well, the problem with FAU Stadium, yes, it's beautiful, and yes, that's how they recruit. Ed Warner, I'm going to guess that you know Ed Warner.
You're a good friend of Ed's. Yeah.
Okay, so Ed was on with us last week, but we've spoken to Ed many times, and he says one of his first moves recruiting is he takes somebody up to the roof of the stadium and says, "Look, there's the ocean
There's
right
the
there,
ocean, yeah.
a mile away." The problem is nobody, and when I say nobody, nobody shows up to these freaking games. And we had Tom Herman on our show begging. He's like, "Does anybody know Pitbull? Does anybody?" So they got who did they get? Stephen Kodak Black, rapper. I'm sure you don't know. I don't know who he is.
Well, whatever.
Here's the mistake. Here's the mistake. They had Kodak Black perform in the tailgate before the game, so everybody got drunk, passed out in a parking lot. And no one goes to this. No one goes to these games. So we're trying to think of something that we can do because FAU is near and dear to our heart.
Well, I'll tell you the best elixir that I found out over the years to fill your stadium is to win some championships. So you'd be amazed how many people show up. So I've told that to Ed too. I know once you win about 13 games, you'll be having trouble selling tickets. There won't be any left.
I hope this is the year for them because
look at that in the basketball program. They didn't have problems selling tickets after they went to the Final Four, did they?
Nah, but if you've seen the basketball stadium, it's like a high school basketball. So it only holds
but look at the demand there. I mean, it's and of course now we're stealing a lot of those guys, and I apologize, FAU, but that's I'm very close to our athletic director, Ward Manuel, and one of the major hires of his life was picking up Dusty May. And, and I'm, there's a part of me that hates that when you go and rob another program and steal the players and everything. But we just had a coach in the NFL just do that to us. Jimmy Harbaugh won the Natty, stole all of our coaches. He's about to draft 3 or 4 of our guys in the next 2 days. A couple of them left early. And so I know the feeling, guys, at FAU, when that happens. But Dusty's going to be a huge, huge addition to Michigan sports, and we're excited as heck to have him on as a Wolverine. I know that.
I've never spoken to him. He seems like a really nice guy. I know that our guys, Robbie, has communicated directly with Dusty, and I actually think they scared the shit out of Dusty on Saturday because Christian was just there, and Dusty's like, "Whoa, what are you doing here?" So I don't know. There may be a restraining order or something. So we said, "No, John, we're not stalking. We didn't follow you all the way up here. It's all good. We were coming."
That's funny. I know that's just in jest, but I was hoping that wasn't because I went to great lengths to get you guys set up there.
No, it was totally in jest. Dusty took a picture with them. Dusty communicated with Robbie. It was fantastic.
Well, I think it's cool, and what I thought was important, and when we discussed. The Bleacher Brothers' involvement. First of all, I think that, you guys are a breath of fresh air. I think there's been a lot of media that's stale over the years. And I don't know if you know this or not, but, there's been a lot of controversy in Ann Arbor the last couple of years. And in a lot of cases, journalists weren't necessarily being fair. They were basically just spreading rumors. And the one thing I've liked about your podcast and even Tony Bruno, he's affiliated with you guys some way, hasn't he, Tony Bruno?
He was. He's retired. He's retired.
But pretty much those guys were pretty on target. They weren't, my thoughts of you guys were you're not a vindictive journalist. You guys are good. And I thought it's a chance for new guys to get a chance. And I hope their experience went well. I hope they shared some time with our sports information director, Dave Abloff, and because that's a cool organization when you can cover it weekly. Michigan Stadium's it's a cathedral.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. If I need you to pull some strings to get me up there from one of those games, or one game or whatever, I don't care. Take me to the roof. Let me see if we can see the ocean.
The thing is, Michigan Stadium's built underground. It's 80 rows up. When you walk into when you walk into the stadium at ground level, you're on the 80th row.
Wow.
So it is that deep underground. And matter of fact, they had to quit lower in the field because they ran into the water table.
Oh, wow.
So that's why they have to have this polyastroturf there. They can't grow grass down that low. There's no soil left. So they kind of expanded it. And every time someone would expand that stadium, Tennessee went from I remember Tennessee, Johnny Majors came into Bo's office way back when and said they were going to expand it because we were 101 and they were going to make Neyland Stadium in Knoxville 102. And they did. And so Michigan just added another row. at the top, which is very easy to add because it's just 20 feet above the ground. And then they just installed another row with 3,500 seats at that row at that height, and then went ahead again. And then Tennessee spent all that money. Penn State did the same thing. Ohio State did the same thing. But the problem is they got to keep building vertically. And when you build vertically, what happens is you run out of airspace because you're so far away from the ground that you run into all kinds of safety restrictions in terms of, and a lot of that original foundation wasn't built for that. Mm-hmm. And so these guys are getting, Michigan could add 60,000 seats. Michigan could be 165,000 if they ever wanted to be. Wow. Probably even bigger. It could probably go to 200. All the footings are there. You'd have to shut some streets down and things, but no one will ever be at larger attendance than Michigan if Michigan decides that they don't want to compete. So it's just one of those cool places that it is cool. If you haven't been up there, I'm looking forward to you coming.
Yeah, you got to get me in. I mean, Rob, we know Rob, right? And Rob, Rob's one of our partners in this. But sure. Rob says, you want to go to the moon? Sure, we're going to the moon. No problem. We'll get it done. And then he has no plan.
Yeah, Rob doesn't. Rob's he's quite talented. And,
he is talented.
Very influential.
Yes, he is. Yeah. So hey, let's Yeah. All right. If we can take a couple seconds, and if I keep you a few seconds or a few minutes longer than what we agreed to, you okay with that? Because
hey, I can be here all night.
All right, we're already out.
And I will tell you this: I may cut into your schedule, but I spent a lot of effort on my draft thing, and I do want to discuss it a little bit because I think history is about to be made on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
So let's before we get into that. Mm-hmm. Tell me about what we did with Gerald last night. I'm not going to do this with you, but we went from the very first time he put pads on to the very first time a football ever touched his hands, all the way up to not getting drafted and what that felt like, but then getting a phone call the next day from the Packers and the Cowboys and then being signed by Dallas immediately afterwards and the ups and the downs and his mom and grandma and who was the first person to go. What was... If you can give it to us in like 3 minutes, you're from day one when you discovered football to leading up to draft day, how much work did you put in? How much sacrifice? Were you just naturally fantastic at football and you didn't have to try, or did you have to work your ass off? Did you outwork everyone else? That's what Gerald said. He had to outwork people. Tell us how it felt leading up to draft day, because that's really what we're going for this week, besides the actual draft talk.
Well, as far as where it began that I'm the caboose in the family, and I had 3 older brothers that played football, and when you're the last kid and they were all successful in it, you were kind of forced to play it whether you wanted to or not, because if you didn't, you'd be laughed at. Because our brothers were not exactly the ones you see on TV shows with the loving family. We were a very ultra competitive family. And so what I did was a lot of it was self-preservation. And so, but the one thing I did do is get in the weight room, and I had a great work ethic, and I knew that I made some really good gains in the weight room, and I started getting a lot stronger at a really young age. I mean, I was the strongest player on the Michigan team. It's funny because Mel and I were the 2 strongest, and I was benching 495 pounds my senior year in Michigan.
How much?
495.
Benching?
Yeah. I was squatting like 580. I was deadlifting like 400 or 500. I was really in the weight room constantly, but I only weighed about 245, so I wasn't fat. And so in the NFL, I never really fit. I thought of the NFL. I was perfect for the Michigan run offense because it's a trap option, and your guards have to be able to fly. We pulled all the time. If a play went to the right, and I'm the left guard, if it was going, which most plays do go to the right, if you ever do the math on it, the quarterback's right-handed. If it goes to the right, I'm pulling about 55% of the time. So I had to get out in front of get on strong safeties, corners. I had to beat the pitch man if we'd option the end. If there was any blitzes or anything, I had to pick it up. And you had to be really quick to do that. So my position doesn't exist in the NFL that I had in college. So it was always, I never really thought I was going to play in the NFL, and I was surprised that the teams did come after me and were going to draft me, but paid me more money to sign as a free agent, and told me that during the draft because I could save them a pick if I'd agree with them. I did that with the Lions, and then the New Orleans Saints offered more money, and I ended up probably I deserved everything I got because I took the New Orleans money and hated the experience. When Monty Clark wanted me to play for the Lions, and I basically I made a commitment to him and didn't do it. So there's a lot of melancholy in the NFL. I should have been a tight end in the NFL. My body's made for a tight end. I'm not a 325 pound guard. I was a 200. I was benching like I think my last year I think I was doing 465. I was repping 400. I was running 485s. I was I had very little body fat. And I was just I'd have been a good tight end, but you don't play in the NFL tight end if they've never seen you catch the ball. I certainly could block in the line. I'd have no trouble being a blocking tight end. So my NFL wasn't something that I really considered, other than to pay my car off, I guess. Because I had a lease. I still loaded another $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 on the car. I think I got $10,000 signing bonus from the Saints. I think Monty offered me $8,000. And if I'd have gone in the 6th round, I'll tell you how bad the money was back then. Had I gone in the 6th round, I would only made like $8,000 or $7,000 signing bonus. So I actually got more as an undrafted free agent than I would have as a 6th rounder.
So you worked this all out ahead of time. So when you don't get drafted, you knew you weren't going to get drafted. So
I didn't think I would.
And so there wasn't a disappointment per se, because you knew that somebody was about to call, and multiple teams were going to call, and that you were going to sign a deal, and you were going no matter what.
Well, I knew. I knew during the draft that I was going somewhere because they kept calling me. When you get in the later rounds, see, when my draft was like one of the first drafts, they moved these rounds up. Remember, there used to be 17, 20 rounds, 30 rounds, I think, in one draft years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think in the last few years, they've gone to 7. And in that 7, when they did that, the hard part is now you got so many undrafted free agents, and it's a nightmare for anybody in the front office. And that's on the Draft Central, because you got a lot of guys running out there that are great players. And if you go through history, hey, Tom Brady was 1 pick away from the 7th round. Imagine if that had been 1 round and 2 picks later. Let's say he didn't get drafted, and you got the greatest player of all time out there. If you look at the guys from the 8th round on in the NFL history, you probably got in the NFL Hall of Fame probably 50 of them. So those guys exist out there. And now your biggest problem is you can't commit them to you because you can't draft them. And so the crazy day is, and so you can make a lot of money as an undrafted free agent if you're in demand. If there's 3 or 4 teams that need you and they're looking for a left guard or a right guard, or they're looking for a kicker or whatever, I mean, you're going to get paid, and they're going to negotiate with you. Your agent's going to be bidding them off against each other. And, by the way, for the record, my contract was $22,000, $24,000, $26,000 a year and an option. And I had $10,000 signing bonus. You know what long snappers make today? Long snappers, they sign $3.5 million deals, and all they do is long snap. They don't even play football. I'm not sure what they do. You're not even allowed to hit them. I mean, they pay. They're like it's. I think the minimum's $1 million nowadays, isn't it? $950,
wow.
$950, and then you got up it by 10 or 14%. If you do the math, the standard 3-year and an option contract would be 3-point-something million. Yeah, and it's just crazy, the money. You got NIL kids making that money. You got, we had a couple of kids in Michigan make over $1.5 million last year.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's where poor Eddie Warner, he can't get any NIL money. God bless him.
I know. I was actually wearing this shirt. I got an FAU sweatshirt on tonight when he was on, and he's like, "Hey, I know where you can buy more of those if you want to go buy them." I'm like, "Wow, yes, I will go buy more. I know what they need, and I look. Obviously, it's not the business that I'm in, but I want to do everything I can to support those guys because they gave us a shot when we were new and no one did. So they're always going to kind of be, we will move on to bigger and better places and opportunities, but there is always going to be a spot for them. But yeah, let's get down to business. Let's get down. I got the article that you sent me, but I thought that there was going to be an article written by you. And let me pull it up here.
I typically don't write. I mean, I'm not a journalist. I do a lot of podcasts. I do them I did one with Ohio State recently on the Tim May show, Buckeyes. That was interesting. And then I've done a lot with Amazing Blue Review, and I've done things like that. But typically, I like to do is take a subject and research it, and try to just do what because I'm a math major, coming out of high school, and I've always tried to see what's different. And in this draft, the Michigan draft could be historic, and it's not just the numbers. If you run the numbers. And I guess what that says is that if Michigan does get over 15, first of all, it tells you how incredible Georgia was 2 years ago when they had 15 guys drafted. If Michigan can get to 18, and I've worked out the math here, and I've looked at it a bunch of ways, looking at picks, I think they're going to get to 16. I think they're going to break the all-time record in history. Now, let me put that in perspective, what that is. Because they could say, oh, yeah, well, you just did 16. I mean, first of all, think about that. And think about the last team that did it won the national championship. So, I mean, Georgia won it too. I mean, how many teams do this, what they're about to do? And if you look at it, if you do the math, and I'm sure there's supplemental picks, there always are, but just for general, if you take 32 teams and you times it by 7 rounds, you come up with 224. And if you're able to get 18 out of that, that's 8% of every player. I mean, that's 1 out of 12 and a half players went to your school. That's unbelievable. And graduated in the same year and went to the NFL draft. It's never been done. It's almost, and now think about it. There's 131 teams in Division I that play football. There's over 400 or 500 that they draft from, including basketball programs. I mean, you got guys in the NFL Hall of Fame that never played football, that came out of basketball programs. And you got Antonio Gates from San Diego Chargers about to go in the Hall of Fame, who played basketball at Akron or Kent State. He never played football. He's going to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. And that's unbelievable. I mean, you got 8% of everybody drafted out of all those options and eligibility. So that's a record that would speak for itself. But the fact Georgia already has the record at 15, I mean, that is, now a lot of that, I don't know. How will all 15 of them play in the NFL? And the answer is going to be no, because, I mean, a lot of them get there because there's so many scouts there looking at the other 10 or whatever, that they always draw another eye and go, "Man, this kid looks great," and so, and I'm sure Michigan's got that. But when I went through that 18 eligibles, I mean, there's some serious guys. There's some guys that are going to start right away in the NFL. And then you also got the other factor. I call it Harbaugh East and West. You got Jimmy on the West and Johnny on the East. And, they're going to go after these kids because the one thing they do know, they know the character of them. I mean, they understand the work ethic of them. They know their grades. They know their mental attitude. They know their moral turpitude. I mean, you want to talk about two guys that are sitting there in a candy store on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's going to be Mr. John and Jim Harbaugh. And I have Johnny Harbaugh, taking 2 of them.
Okay.
And I have Jimmy going for 3 of them.
So part of what elevated this team and these players, from what I can see, and I'm a novice. We went over that last time you were here. The teamwork, they everyone bought in to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is from a distance. Everybody bought into Jimmy's plan, and they really functioned as a unit much more than just about every other team, which led them to the successes that they had.
It was one of the coolest things I've ever witnessed in my life, to the point where I remember we talked about it during the season. There's something. And I remember I was down in Ohio State. Tim May is one of the top journalists in Columbus, Ohio. He's with the Dispatch 42 years. He's considered the old man in Columbus, and he would be compared to Joe Falls in Michigan or Jim Murray in LA. He's one of those great journalists.
Okay.
And I did an interview with him, and I told him, I said, Jim, I can honestly tell you this because I had raised money for a Buckeye, and he couldn't believe a Wolverine raised money for a Buckeye. So that's how I got on his show, because he invited me on. And in that article, he talked about Michigan, were they cheating and all this stuff, because that always comes up with those guys. And I said, it's amazing if you guys would have literally shut up. I mean, Ohio State, every time you told them they were cheating, every time you told that team that they were that they were stealing signs and everything else, and then they suspend the coach, and Harbaugh misses 6 games, and they suspend him on the flight to the Penn State game. They don't even have the respect to do it beforehand. And then they came out of Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. And every time you did that to them, what did they do? They circled the wagons and got better. They created a super team. And that super team going 15-0, and think about this for a minute. That team, how many teams you ever heard of that ever, actually in history, if it's ever even happened, I'm not sure, that beat Ohio State and Alabama in the same year? They beat Ohio State and Alabama within 2 games of each other. They took out number 1 Washington, and they said, well, they don't play anybody. Remember the beginning of the season? They have an easy schedule. Well, they ended up playing numbers 2. They played 3 number 2s and beat all 3 of them, and because they were number 1, and they took out what was Penn State at the time, 7 on the road. It was, and then the other ones were on neutral fields, except Ohio State. I mean, that's one of the greatest performances in history. Only 2 teams in history have won 15-0. And when I first heard that, I go, it must have been Georgia. No, it wasn't. It was actually LSU back in when they won it with their great quarterback from Ohio State. And we're the only 2 teams to go 15-0. It's pretty cool. That team was magic, and I don't know that there's one like it that I can even compare it to. I can tell you in Michigan history, there's no doubt our greatest team. I will never even. I played on some great ones too, and I've been to the '97 national championship game. That's the greatest team in Michigan history. Those kids deserve it too.
So what's the expectations around the team right now? Is there not fear, but is there that, well, there's no way we're going to be as good as we were last year? Is there all right, it's, let's take a breath and everybody regroup and then we'll be really good again in the next couple of years? Or is it, hey, let's go. Let's do this again?
Well, I can tell you at the beginning of last season, they had the same questions about the team that went 15-0.
Okay.
And everybody was worried about what happened. They already graduated all the kids that got beat by Georgia. Remember last year? Mm-hmm. And then the year before. And then last year, the ones that did win it all, I think it defensive line and offensive line. The one thing I did know, they had 8 defensive linemen that could have started anywhere. They didn't have 4; they had 8. And a matter of fact, these kids that are coming back, I mean, they have the best defensive line in the country coming back, and they're putting 2 guys in the NFL. I'll bet you Jenkins goes in the 2nd round. I would almost be sure that 2 of these linemen are drafted this year, 4 coming back that are going to get drafted next year. The outside, especially the edge position. I think you're going to be amazed at what happens next year draft, because you're going to have another 4 defensive linemen. You're going to have another 3 or 4 offensive linemen. And it's funny because you had Ed Warner on. Ed Warner has coached, I believe, 46 players that got drafted. Mm-hmm. It's something that big. I mean, there's no one like him. And he recruited a lot of these guys. So with Ed, Ed was like a machine maker when he was in Michigan. And so everybody he recruited and trained is going to the NFL. So do I think it's going to stop? No. I think the spring game was interesting to me. I didn't see a lot of the offensive quarterback under fire, but I'm glad because the defense looked like they were pretty solid in coverages for the most part. until there was a couple breakdowns in the second half. And the one thing I like about spring games is I'm more comfortable with no scoring than scoring, because I mean, like you look at the Texas spring game when Ewers didn't play, but Manning's little Archie Manning threw for 355 yards, 19 for 24, and just was 3 touchdowns and looked like a killer. And then the other guy threw for 235 and everything. Well, that tells me they got a weakness in their secondary, because they're playing themselves. So, low scoring games in spring games are sometimes a great thing because the defense is always ahead of the offense. That's a typical thing. It typically takes time. And even this year in Michigan, that was true. You remember Bowling Green, and we had trouble moving the ball on Bowling Green. We had trouble early in the year. And they played that stack 3-3-5, that's what Jerry Glanville taught, by the way. That was his defense. And they had trouble. They had trouble all the way to Michigan State. And when did they start winning? When they started talking trash, and Michigan State is when Michigan State said, "Oh, they're going to cheat on us. We're not going to play." And then, so there was no sign stealing that day. And this is when it first started. This is when these guys started getting pissed. And what was the score of that game? 49-0. And that stadium's 100 years old. And it all began on that non-eventful evening in East Lansing, Michigan. And it should have been 56-0 because the refs blew a call at the end of the first half. Michigan scored, and they messed it up. It was the worst beating in 100 years in Spartan Stadium ever. 100 years they played football there. It was their worst beating. That's how these guys started that streak. And that streak went on to Purdue after they had beat them in the Big Ten championship game the year before, put another beating on them. And I remember that was 41-6. And Purdue was the ones claiming that Michigan was cheating and stealing their signs and all this stuff. Well,
why do these teams have to create bulletin board material?
Well, they scored at the end. Purdue scores at the end. It was 41-6, about a minute 04, 1 minute 03 left, and they get a touchdown, go over 2 and get it. And it was like a moral victory for them. Okay, so check them out. Then they go into Penn State, and then on their way into Penn State, Harbaugh is on the plane, and he's suspended. And the team's just getting madder and madder and madder. So they just run 32 straight running plays, 2.5 quarters. They end up pounding, Penn State, they dominated the clock, kept them off the field, played hard-nosed defense, and walked out of there with a win against number 7. Then they go on the road to Maryland, which was Tua's little brother, by the way. And Tua, his little brother's pretty good as well. He can put on some clinics, and he threw 2 NFL perfect passes, by the way, his little brother. I mean, I don't care who's Deion Sanders ain't stopping those throws. They were perfect. They were literally in a hole that big you could throw it in. That's how good that kid is. So I think you're going to see him get drafted next year from Maryland. Then we go to Buckeye. Buckeyes come in. And Buckeyes are, you talk about problems in life. I mean, they haven't. You realize on November 25th of this year when we play them, it's going to have been 5 years since they beat us. And then, because they didn't play us in COVID because our whole team had COVID. So we didn't play them in COVID, and they beat us in 2019, and then we beat them in 21, 2, and 3. So, and that's going to be 2024. It's going to be 5 years. So there. Now you probably have to go to commercial, don't you?
No, we're good. We are completely good. We're gonna roll. No, it's good.
Lasso me in.
I will if I need to. So, do you want to go? So, JJ, is this done for him?
I think so, man. I think he's. I see. Here's the crazy part, and I have a home for all 18 of them. I honestly think it's going to be between 14 and 16. And so it's going to, when I really look at it, because there's an abundance of offensive linemen, there's so many things you can do in the late rounds with these guys as a free agent. You can tell them in 6th, 7th round, hey, look, we'll give you we'll give you $50,000, $100,000 signing bonus because it's so competitive now, the guys that aren't signed. So they'll actually negotiate that to them. Like they'll have the draft choice. They'll call you like they did me and say, okay, look, we're going to pay you $100,000, but you got to sign as a free agent. But then there's no contract there. That's just but it's like I did. I screwed Monty Clark. I deserved everything I got for that because I went with more money. But that's one of those things where they do, and that's how they do it today. So I think at the very end of the draft that, the guys like Trent A. Jones, the guys like Drake Nugent, Barnhart, those 3 there, they're either going to get picked or they're going to negotiate, but they're going to get money and they're going to get enough. They're going to be on a cool team. JJ, it's going to, the two Harbaughs are going to be crazy. They don't need a quarterback. So, but the rest of the draft, they're going to need these other players. They need tight ends. They need, they need defensive linemen. Both teams do. And I think that the Harbaughs are going to pick out at least I think 4. The Harbaughs are going to draft 4 of these kids between the two of them. But JJ, I think Jimmy sells. I think he trades that pick at San Diego to Minnesota, and I think the Vikings take JJ. They really want him. I think that's what happens, and I think Jim picks up another pick, and I think he uses that to get Chris Jenkins in the second round because he loves Jenkins. And he's a 1, 2, and 3 technique defensive end. He can play anywhere. He was best player on the Michigan defensive line, and Harbaugh is going to go after him if he's still around. But Jenkins may go in the first round. So, but I know that Harbaugh wants him. JJ, I think 5th pick.
Okay.
I know it sounds crazy. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Watch it happen. It's just he really impressed these scouts, and the fact that there's a lot of NFL people that really like that his brain. I mean, he's incredibly intelligent. He reads defenses and receivers unbelievably. He can run his butt off, and he's got a deep throwing arm that's extremely accurate. Well, let's see. That would be first round.
Yeah. Check. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you being so close to the team,
yeah,
and being emotionally invested, whether you wanted to admit,
former captain. I love these kids. Sure.
So have you ever thought, oh no, don't do that, please don't, no, when one of these guys gets drafted, or after the draft, when free agency, have you ever thought, no, please don't? Have you ever shook your head or got pissed or sad or aggravated because, like our guy, we have a guy FAU guy. He's not gonna get drafted, but he did his pro day and he got phone calls, and he told us, he's like, the Giants, they called, and I'm like, nah, man, any team but the Giants. Don't go to the Giants. He doesn't care what the hell we say, but I mean, you being much closer, much more in touch. Has that ever happened where you just thought, oh, this really sucks, now I have to root for whatever it is, the 49ers because my guy went there?
Well, I think there's probably some people that would be that. I don't think it's the majority. I think the fact most of these guys, you go to football for one of two reasons, and if you're a major athlete, and a lot of times you're going there for the scholarship to get you into med school or law school. And there's a lot of great players that, even in the NFL, that played 3 or 4 years and became doctors. And I'm thinking of that John Frank from 49ers was all pro 5 times. And then his grandmother told him, time to go to med school, just quit. I mean, there's guys that go for that reason. And then there's guys that go for the money and that. And then there's guys like John Elway's dad. And, some of these guys that'll sit there and say, oh, we're not going to play for you. And Ryan Leaf and those guys. And, that was pretty brash and, whatever. I mean, the fact you have an opportunity to play in the NFL, and as Jerry Glanville has always said, NFL is not for long. You ought to be licking your chops and thanking the Lord you even got the opportunity and whatever you can do there and make as much money as you can do there. But it's not the end of game. And matter of fact, when you talk the numbers on it, I think less than one. I don't know. Eddie Warner was talking about it on your thing. I think less than 0.2% of high school players ever play in the NFL. It's like so many. It's like 1 out of 4 million or something, 3 million. I think there's 1 million at any given time. There's 1.5 million high school kids that are going to college, and then you add that up. And how many play in the NFL in the draft? Well, there's 224 guys drafted. So you can't really, I think number one, if you think you're going to have a career, there's probably 5 or 6 guys on most teams that might have a chance. Michigan seems to have a boatload this year, but I've seen years where they've had 3 guys drafted and none of them made it. So that's that'd be pretty interesting. The stories about the great players. Yeah, you're right. But in reality, how many are really great, and how many of them even warrant that? The vast percentage of players, I'm sure, are just happy and glad that they had the opportunity, and they'll make as much money as they can for as long as they can, and then try to keep their health and then move on in life. I mean, it's not for long. Jerry's right.
Yeah, you have a much more positive attitude about it. I just don't want my buddy going to the Giants. That's all. I'm like,
no, yeah, because you got Giant fans that's funny about the Northeast. You see the Dolphins and the Giants and the Bills and the Eagles and the Patriots and the Washington Redskins. And when I because I'm from Cleveland, so I was a Cleveland Browns fan. But what's real interesting to me is that when I look at those guys, and my buddy Johnny Geisler was left tackle for Dan Marino for 10 years, and he was my college roommate in Michigan. He played next to me in Michigan on the line. He was all pro, I think, about 5-6 times. I used to go to games back then when he was playing, and I'd sit in the 50-yard line on I believe it would have been the east side of the stadium. The fields run north and south.
Mm-hmm.
And every time the Dolphins would throw an interception, the crowd would go nuts. They love it. And because I didn't realize that they didn't sell those games out. Those are Buffalo Bill fans or New York Giant fans or Redskin fans or Eagle fans or Patriot fans. So they used to play at home. And when the other team would score, the place would go nuts. And
yeah,
I couldn't believe
that's life in Miami. That is life in Miami.
Believe that. I mean, yeah, I guess that explains FAU as well, huh?
Yeah, except not enough teams in the AAC travel very well, so the stadium's still empty no matter what. Unfortunately, but yeah, that
just shocked me. It shocked me, and he goes, "Yeah, they actually had to call a timeout once because they couldn't hear the singles at home because it was in the New York Giant end zone." And that just blew my mind. In Cleveland, that had never happened.
No, it's disgusting. I've been down here for 20-something years. I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Jersey. So, I grew up a Yankees fan. To come down here and you hear, Miami's a football town. Miami's a Dolphins town. Yeah, they talk about the Dolphins all year long, but it doesn't. And games 1, 2, 3, they'll sell out. But as soon as the Dolphins start to fall off, which historically until last year was in weeks 2, 3, and 4, you're getting tickets on StubHub for $4.92 because no one wants to go to these games. And I don't know why, John. There's so many reasons. It's too hot. There's too many things to do in Florida. But it's just to me,
give them the hot section.
Yes,
because even during the Hard Rock Stadium when I went to the Bills game. And my friend has club seats, first row in the 50-yard line. So it's upper deck, so it's perfect.
Yeah, that club level is great.
I love it. Not even the level itself. It's just the fact I can put my feet out there and I'm literally, that's where you fall off. If you go over that rail, you're dead, It's a straight drop. And the thing is, though, those visitors have to sit through that sun in September. And it's hot on their side. And it was all Buffalo Bill fans. I'm going, my God, this is true. Look at them all. Just kills me, but they're paying $290 or whatever it is, $450 a ticket. So
what makes it really bad for the true fans, and I'll go to the baseball aspect. Yeah. Florida Marlins, no one showed up.
Nobody. That's embarrassing too.
But then when they get to the playoffs and they get to the World Series, the fans that followed them,
they filled the stadium.
They can't get a ticket because they're playing the Yankees in a World Series. So they're taking the tarps off the upper deck at Dolphin Stadium. They're filling 75,000 people in a baseball game. But yet there's no Marlin fans because they're priced out because all the New York people, I'll keep it, I got other words for them, but the New Yorkers come down. They douchebag. That's just a common thing to call somebody in New York.
Oh, this is funny.
They come down, but it's the same way with the Heat. I think the Panthers might be the only team that actually draws consistently. It's frustrating. So where are you watching the draft? Where are you going to be? Who are you going to be with? What's that all look like?
Well, right now, I'm supposed to golf, so we're going to play like 2:30. So I get done at 6:37, eat dinner. That puts me to 8. When's the draft start? 8, 8:30. So I'll probably watch it in a sports bar somewhere for the first couple picks, and then watch it on my couch at home for the rest of it. But it's just going to be fun. The first round will take till probably 11:05. And they're just going to do the first round, I believe, on Thursday, right? And they do rounds 2 and 3 on Friday, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And then they just go through the speed dating portion on the last day, Saturday. But I'm I can watch on my phone. I still have all the gadgets. I got pretty hip on internet and bandwidth and stuff. I did that. I did a pretty good job on that. Getting acclimated to it. But
you're the perfect guest technology-wise. No problems getting on.
Yeah, I'm on a lot of podcasts.
Everything is perfect here.
Yeah, I've done a lot of shows over the years, and it's kind of fun. And I like doing some of the visitors we play, because I've done to Ohio State, Iowa, Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin. I've gone on some of their guest shows, which has been fun. And then they try to explain to them who we are, and they try to explain. We try to figure out what the matchups are. But that's a lot of my friends have podcasts too. It's cool. So, by the way, how's your podcast coming along here? We got
we're a radio show now. We're on digital radio, 102.9 The Game. People download the app. There's people that listen. I'm not looking at the analytics right now, but we've got people all across the U.S. Most states we have covered. We've got people that listen consistently in Germany.
Oh,
and,
cool.
There's other countries over there. England. What is that other one? Finland.
Yeah.
We are growing. The live audience is a good size. The next morning when we wake up, it grows 10 times overnight because people watch on demand on Facebook and YouTube. And so we're moving in the right direction here for sure. And on Thursday night, wherever you're at, if you need something, the guys, Robbie and Christian, and Christian will be there in Detroit. We got him credentialed. He's set. He'll be up. He's going to be reporting live from the draft, I guess, after each pick or after he talks to JJ.
Yeah, that's right. You guys are NFL. You guys are NFL certified. You were at the Super Bowls, right?
Yeah, we've done 2 Super Bowls. Christian was at the combine.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool, man. We're starting off and getting the NFL. That's cool.
Yeah, they're hard to crack, and sometimes they're difficult. Even when you crack them, they want to seal themselves back up. But we're excited with the direction we're going in, but we're excited to have guys like you on. And what we need to do is we need to schedule again, but I just schedule we do a 3-hour show right now.
Sure.
Say, John, when do you get 3 hours? Let's just come on and let's.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. I don't. It's. First of all, I love the sport. I think I bring a really different perspective because, the former player is one thing, but I've also been involved with trying to help my university out. As far as getting the right athletic director in there. I worked on a team that got Jim Harbaugh there. Worked on a team that got the Great Word Manual in there. And we've really done, a lot of us old alumni, and being a captain helps me because at any moment I can get 20 captains on the phone together, in Michigan history that led 20 different teams. And if we want to go to the president or the board of regents, they'll listen to us. And the board of regents are eight people, and all you need is 5 votes, and you can fire the president of the university doing that. So we've always understood the power and clout that we do have. We've also really cared about the tradition of the university, you know what I mean? And it's a kind of cool thing. So there's, and I'm very happy with Michigan. I think that they, obviously Matt went through this weather in the storm with Ward and Jim and everything last year. I think it's a non-event these days, and it certainly didn't affect any of our performances. I mean, we've done incredibly well, and but I do bring that other aspect to it, where with actual business organization inside the university athletic departments, which is, and also the the academic side of it, and how like for example, one of the kids that we got didn't qualify eligibility wise. His transcripts wouldn't transfer into Michigan, and so Michigan's a hard school to get into. A lot of schools aren't. And you can get guys into Ohio State, you can't get into Michigan, and so you gotta. And do you want to lose your standards? I mean, Michigan's like a Harvard or a Stanford. From a graduate program level, it's cool. We're not a state university; we're semi-private, and so we're not even the favorite university in Michigan. Michigan State is. See, Ohio State doesn't have that problem. They don't have anyone other than them. Well, they got Miami and Cincinnati, but those guys all root for Ohio State because they're not in the Big Ten. Michigan State and us, if you go to games, I think the average fans in Michigan, I bet you there's 60%, lean, if you had to pick one of the two, because some are Western, Central Michigan, Northern Michigan, Eastern Michigan. But if you had to pick one of the two, Michigan or Michigan State, it would probably be 60% Michigan State, they would say.
Really?
Yeah, because most of them can't get into Michigan.
Wow, that's why. Okay, so
then remember, Michigan is pretty much 55% out of state and international. So if you think about it, Michigan State's probably 90% inside of Michigan. Michigan itself is probably 43 or 4% Michigan people, and it probably have a lot from Asia. Tons from New York. I mean, it's an incredible university for New York, New Jersey, New England.
Forget about it.
Usually, a lot of high educated people in the Northeast are always in line to go to Michigan. So you see a lot of that, but you don't see the local kids from high schools that just go to Michigan. You just don't go to Michigan.
You know what would be the greatest thing that could happen, though? At the end, your legacy, all these people and all these organizations that you brought in, they say, John brought Bleacher Brothers to Michigan.
Yeah, there you go. And well, I think you guys need a chance, and I can tell you this, and I am, I'm very respectful to our sports information department, but I like what you guys are doing a lot. I think you're cool. I think you're responsible journalists, which is number one. And because I can tell you this, during this whole crisis last year, it's funny that it was a crisis and we went 15-0.
Yeah, I'd hate to see
a national championship.
Nothing going on. What you guys could do.
I mean, every week everybody was infighting, and then. And Harbaugh was all pissed off at our athletic director, and then the Big Ten's all pissed off at us, and all the other teams hate us. It's like it's almost, you wouldn't even believe the movie, because there's no way all that chaos could be going on at the same time. But I will say this: one of the things that I noticed and that I pointed out to whomever, the powers that be, because the one thing I do have is discourse with the powers that be. And whether they listen to me or not is another thing. But I think this time they did. And one of the things I talked about is responsible journalism. And there's a lot of people there that were just reporting rumor and innuendo as fact. And I said, you can't continue to give them press passes. And I spoke that to everybody I could. And I'm sure you know who those people are, but and they agreed with me. If you're a responsible journalist, you should be able to do your job. But the minute you start going into shock jock journalism and rumor and innuendo and or repeating rumor and innuendo, I mean, there was so much distortion and misinformation of facts on our athletic director. He was accused of 7 things that never happened. And there's journalists inside Michigan that know who they are, that ought to be thanking God if they get a press pass this year.
One of the things that you'll find out about Robbie LaStella is that, so he's come to me with things very recently. He's come to me and said, look, I got this, but I don't want to go yet, because I want to ask FAU and And sometimes I think, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I think I'm like, dude, maybe you should just go with it. And he's like,
Well,
no,
and
no,
he's a
no.
nice young fresh voice too. He's a nice young kid that.
He is. And he's green. He's green, but that's a good thing that he's green. He's not tainted. He hasn't been put through the ringer. There's not a bad bone. And when I say that these kids are homers, because they all came through the FAU journalism program. They
Right.
love this. But Robbie, when we all started to talk about this, and Rob came to us and said, look, we got a partnership going on here. I mean, he's like, all right, I got to get my dog up there. So I need a 2-bedroom. I said, slow down. Let's do the spring game first and see how it goes and make sure it's all good. But he's dynamite, man. And the thing is that he's so 100% legit that it's just hard to find, and it's shocking that
I'm impressed these Generation Z, and he gets it, and that's important. You have to show tremendous diversity in your broadcasting. You really do. You can't sit there and have the same network and the same people talking about it. And if you want to appeal to young fans, you need young people to do it. And I think you guys fit a very good niche at Ann Arbor, and hopefully that'll be a great relationship with you guys. I know that the student body themselves is basically they're not much younger than your guys. Actually, your guys are about the same age or graduate. One of them, Robbie, I believe, is grad school age.
Yeah, Robbie's graduating on Friday or next Friday or something.
So I think that's cool to hear that voice, and I encourage them. But I also encourage them to stay apolitical and to focus on the field. Because that seems to be a problem that I've noticed with a lot of youth is they always want to get into their mission and cause and forget about that's 4th and 1, what's going on in that? We're about to get blitzed there. And, it's sometimes that's a career destroyer. And sports is supposed to be a safe haven. Remember that.
Exactly. That's what this show is. Look, I'm never going to talk X's and O's with you, but I'll have Robbie on to do that. I'll have somebody else on to do that.
Yeah.
Our show and where it's scheduled in the evening is we want you to unwind. We want to give you what you want to hear. We want to keep you entertained. That's why we bring guys like you on. But we want it to be fun. We're not going to go into whether it's the BS in the political world or the BS in the locker room.
Just get good content, good interviews, get good discourse. Outside the box thinking is always cool. It's hard to talk about the same thing all the time, so you gotta. Sometimes you can have a lot of fun on these shows, and there's certainly a lot of humor in college football. You just got to look for it.
We fought. We didn't fight because ultimately I'm in charge. But when Herman was on with us recently. And we've been chasing Herman for a year, and for whatever reason, things just didn't. But he came on, and Robbie and all of them, they all lined up. They're like, "All right, I said, no, I got this." And you know what? You know what I asked Herman, X's and O's, zilch. I said, "You guys just had your first spring practice.
Yeah.
Can you actually tell anything from the first spring?" He goes, "They were all motivated, and that's all I'm looking for." And then we talked about his kids, and we talked about golf, and we talked about what makes him pick and winning vacations. And we talked about baseball. We talked about so many different things. And I got a phone call the next day from our liaison inside there with football. And she's like, he loved going on. We would like to do X, Y, and Z with you moving forward next year. After the game, you interview him in the locker room, and maybe so that's just we're just trying to have fun because we're passionate, and these kids are passionate, and they love what they do, and they're really, really, really good kids, John.
I'm expecting some really cool things out of FAU because I will tell you this: I do know football coaches. And you got two great ones there. You got Eddie Warner and Tom Herman, and these are serious football coaches. I mean, they were at Ohio State together as coordinators. Won a national championship. Did you know that? They were on the same. They were the co-offensive coordinators. Won the title.
I know that, and what I also know,
pretty impressive who they got there. And hopefully they put this thing together because I don't know Tom very well, but I know Eddie very well, and he deserves he's done more for players. My goodness, I mean he's the best line coach I think, in the country. I can, the evidence is overwhelming because all you got to do is look at his resume and look at the players that are in the NFL. It's like 2-1 over the next guy.
When Shumay talks about Ed's resume, he does it in dollars. He doesn't do it in actual people.
The money that they've raised in the NFL.
74 million. I'm like, wow.
That's a great way to look at it, because ultimately, if you're recruiting a kid, and what's your chances of going to the NFL? And I can tell you this. I mean, I don't know how many of these kids he recruited on Michigan's draft this year, but I think I'm just looking at, let's see, Zenner and Keegan and Durr. I'm looking at 6 guys on the offensive line. I'll bet you he recruited 4 or 5 of them. And remember, he left a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 3 years ago. And then he's had, in the last few drafts, I think he had 10 or 12 just out of Michigan that got drafted, and then add these to it. That's like 16. And then he's got 30-something from other schools. And, and then remember, he spent all those years at West Point. So, even then he wasn't putting kids in the draft. I mean, they take all that, 10 or 12, 13 years he spent there, where they're sending them to the military. They're not going to the NFL draft. They're going to the draft board,
Yeah, exactly. We talked about that the other night, because I asked him, I said, can you coach differently when you're coaching in the Army? Can you just be like a drill sergeant and punch somebody? And he goes, well, times were different back then. So yes, we couldn't get away with that now. But I said, so are you sentimental at all? Because they're playing Army this year as their first home game. And he says, I want both teams to do really good.
Yeah, it's Mikey Field. He loves, he was right about that. I did watch part of his interview, and when you walk into West Point, I could feel the hairs on my forearms go up. I mean, it's a very special place, and that's being a Michigan captain. It was different at West Point than anywhere I ever went. Yeah, and I know exactly, because here you are, as George Washington founded it. I mean, you're basically the commanders of West Point have won or have led every single war in U.S. history, except the Revolutionary War. But of course, we weren't a country then. We were just startup, but every war has been run by a West Point general, all of them. And it's real special when you go there, and it's like, and he got to coach there. The stadium's, it's a big. It's like it's a big high school stadium, but it's it's right there in the Hudson River. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean,
it's got to just feel different than anything else feels. Is how I would imagine it. John, I appreciate you coming on always. I'm going to call you this weekend, and maybe if you can fit us in for 3 hours or 3 minutes.
I'll go with you. We'll have fun. Sure.
Okay.
We'll come up with some good subjects, and maybe we get a call in or something, because there's all kinds of fun things that go on in college football that people don't know about. We can do a whole segment on that.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a commercial, but thank you for coming on. I'm going to reach out.
Got it, AJ.
I will text you during the commercial, Mel's contact. And then
thank you, because let me get back to him. And I might have it. I just I'm talking so long.
I'll send it to you. The awesome John Arbeznik joined us tonight. Thank you so much. We'll be looking. I took notes. I was like Brian Gumble on Real Sports with my pen and my pen and my glasses, writing down everything you said. We'll be right back. We got Nick the Flick. We're going to talk football with Nick the Flick. We're going to talk some boxing. Everybody stay where you're at.
Take care, brother.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I got to tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference.
and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, man.
Come out, Virginia, don't let it.
Yeah, you got to put them longer. Yeah. All right. Coming up, we have the Suns and the Timberwolves going to be tipping off any second now. That game will be starting soon. In MLB, we have some baseball games going on. Right now, the Boston Red Sox are up 1-0 against the Cleveland Guardians right now in the bottom of the 7th. The Pittsburgh Pirates are up 1-0 against the Milwaukee Brewers in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Cincinnati Reds are up 5-1 against the Phillies right now at the end of the 3rd inning. The Washington Nationals are up 1-0 against the Dodgers in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Detroit Tigers are up 1-0 against the Tampa Bay Rays. The New York Yankees are up 4-2 against the Oakland A's in the bottom of the 2nd. No report about Aaron Boone being ejected early again like he did yesterday afternoon. Miami and Atlanta are scoreless in the bottom of the 2nd with it's a 0-0 game in that game. The Chicago White Sox and Minnesota Twins are tied 0 apiece as well in the top of the 1st inning. Top of the 1st inning in Chicago with the Cubs and Astros. It's still scoreless there. And hockey in the NHL in the 1st period, the Rangers are up 2-1 against the Washington Capitals. And in 2-1 Rangers. 1st period. The Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning are underway. They're scoreless in the 1st period at 0-0. Nothing's going on in that game. That game is still underway. And on this day in history, we're going to start about 1954. The NBA adopts the 24-second shot clock. And that is your sports update.
And I did not get to hear anything that you said was going on, but I will look it up on the scoreboard because I was busy getting John Mel's phone number. And Nick the Flick, how are you, buddy?
What's going on, my man? How's everything, man? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I know, it's been a while. Were you at Mom and Pop's house?
Oh, no, I'm at home. I'm right in the kitchen.
Oh, you're not in your man cave, then it must be dinner time.
Yeah, it is dinner time, but I held off. I'm holding up.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm gonna
Nah, man, don't worry about it
tonight, but I'll make it up to you. You know
don't worry about it. We're here to have a good time and talk and get it in, you know?
We are. So hey, let's I'm gonna reverse a minute on you here, and we'll get to boxing. I want to talk about Zach Wilson with you. I want to talk about the Yankees a little bit, but this week we've been focused and we've been bringing people on that have lived a football life. Last night, Gerald White, he talked about the first time Pigskin ever touched his hands and how he was the young kid in the neighborhood and he wanted to play with the big guys and he lived
Right.
on the canal. So the guys would make him run a route on the canal and they would throw it so that basically he would fall in the canal all the time. But he was, but he's like, you know what? I'll show them. And, what it was like his whole life leading up to the draft and signing with the Cowboys. And we just had John Arbeznik, who played in the NFL, played for Michigan. I mean, knows more about football than whoever created football. This guy knows
Right.
more about. You coach the little guys.
I coach the little kids. So my football knowledge isn't like super deep.
That's all right. I don't want knowledge.
But you know what, man? To be honest with you, I was a second string player in high school. I gave it a try for like the first 2 years, but wrestling was my thing, and I was a pretty good wrestler. I was, I wrestled and I did my thing in wrestling. I don't want to brag on myself or anything like that, but I held my own. I did well. Our school did very well. We had a almost undefeated one season, and we went 2 seasons in a row with only one loss. So, we were pretty good. But what
So
the
why
crazy
did
thing
you
is,
go like WWF?
so I'm too little, bro. You see me. You should have saw me in high school. I was like 130 pounds, 135 pounds. So,
Wow.
I wasn't big framed. I wasn't a big guy. So I think wrestling was my gig. I never had to suck weight. I never had to do those kind of crazy things. So I stuck with it. I was scrappy, and that was about it. But what's crazy how I got into the football is I signed my son up for football and took him out there, and the coach, he meant well, but he was too ragged. He had like 1,000 things going on at once, and kids looked at him like they were lost and stuff like that. So make a long story short, I always interjected once in a while, not on the coach's behalf or anything like that. Whenever I had them on the side, I would talk to the kids and be like, "Hey, why don't you try this or this or that?" And before you knew it, man, I had parents telling me you should coach, and my son listened to you, and that little advice that you gave him with the hands or with the running or however it was, it helped them out. So anyway, they referred me to a couple of board members. And the board members one day came to me and they said, "Hey, why don't you come and interview for a coaching job?" So I went. I interviewed for the coaching job. They asked me football questions. Dude, I had no idea. I had no idea what a 3-4 defense. I didn't know what Michael Sam William was. I didn't know any of that stuff.
That's like me talking to John Arbeznik.
Yeah. So
I'm looking it up.
yeah, I know, right? So I mean, I didn't know anything. So I was just honest with him. And my honest truth was, I'm a good motivator. I'm a good talker. I can make people want to do things. And it's just crazy how things like that help you in life, and things like help you with all kinds of stuff. So that was like kind of my thing. I was good with motivating kids, getting kids to think, on my level to the way I see things or whatever. And it just happened to work out. And my very first playbook, dude, I got it from Madden. Playing Madden on PlayStation or whatever it was.
Not Tecmo Bowl, it was Madden?
No, it was Madden, dude.
All right.
And how I was going crazy. Like, how am I going to come up with plays? I don't never coach the team. I don't know this. I don't know that. I asked a few guys. They gave me a little help here and there. But one day I was playing Madden and I go to the bathroom. I took a little bit longer than I should have in the bathroom. I come out. It automatically went into demo mode. And when it went into demo mode, you see the plays. You see how the plays go up through what hole, what blockers do what. I mean, if you put it in that mode, it shows you everything. So, dude, I just started taking plays from there, simplifying it because I was dealing with 8-9-year-olds, you know what I mean? And then came up with easy lingo. And that was about it. And then from there, dude, I did that for 15 years straight, dude.
Why did you do it? Why did you do it for 15 years? Did you do it for your own ego? Did you do it because you wanted to be?
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
I was in the league around here. You know that, right up in our area. And dude, my very first year, I won one game. The second year, I came back. I made it to the playoffs. and I beat the number 2 team, because we were last place team. I beat the number 2 team in the first round of the playoffs.
How do you make the playoffs as a last place team? Was that everybody got a
Because it was
trophy?
you're recreational, so everybody makes but because of your wins and losses, they still bracket you just like any other
Okay.
tournament or anything else. Your low seed is gonna play your high seed. It's gonna play either 1 or 2, and 7 is gonna play. And they so that that when it breaks down at the end, 1 and 2, or at least 1 and 3 and 4 should be in the
there.
end at the end of the road. You should be facing one of those if you're the number 1 team. Dude, we got lucky. We knocked out I believe it was the number 1 team, or it was number 2 team, if I remember right. But anyway, the story is, you know what I mean? I progressed, and not only did I progress, I got through kids. I made good connections with parents. I had kids that wanted to come to my team and all that kind of good stuff. So just being a leader in that way, always trying to think on a kid's level to try to reach them, because the kids want to emulate what they see, or if they have a big brother or a cousin or an uncle or whatever, or even maybe somebody that they used to have that played college ball or in the NFL, they want to emulate that. So in order for them to emulate that, they go out there and they're gonna try to do things that they can. So me being the way that I am, I try to talk to them in a manner where they're gonna understand me. See, I was also a very visual and input coach, meaning like I would get down with them, I would get in there, I would show them, I even let them hit me and tackle me and stuff like that. So I think I was very successful to this date that I know of right now. To this date in that league that I was in, there's no one that's even got the record that I had. I was 33-1. Had three straight undefeated seasons. I lost my one loss was in the last Super Bowl I played in, and that was in triple overtime, and we lost by 1 point. But as far as my use,
Giants, they were good teams.
Yeah. When we
that was the first Super Bowl to go around.
Right. We were good. We went to the Super Bowl and we lost. You know what I'm saying? We lost in the Super Bowl. But all in all, when I was out at that league, I went to the Super Bowl 5 times, won 3 out of the 5.
You're like Bill Belichick, bro.
So like I said, as far as I know out there, between me and my boy Freddie that coached for me and other coaches, and I had a great team mom and my wife and Jen Penfield, and I had Freddie and I had Ron Reese and I had all these other guys. We've of all those years combined, because every year you're saying you get a couple of the same kids, but then you get new parents, you get new people. So I named all those people that I had Marvin Dozier. So I have to give all these guys credit. I wouldn't have been as successful as I was without all their help. You know what I mean? So
let me ask you a question. You went to an FAU game. Well, you went to a couple FAU games with me last year.
Yes, sir.
But you walk in the sidelines and you run into a player on FAU.
Oh yeah. There's a couple. We had Dozer. We had a little Dozer that I just told you. His dad Marvin was his name is Kenny Dozer, and I think there was one more kid.
How does it make you feel to know that?
Oh no, it's awesome. There's another kid that he's going to be stealing the winning position over at USF. You know what I'm saying? I mean UF over in Orlando. He's quarterback. His name is Dylan Risk. Then I got other kids. I got another kid up in Ohio playing D2 ball that I coached. All the years that I've coached, he was with me.
But do you ever sit down for a minute and think back on this and say, look, you know what? This kid is in Ohio. This kid's he's going to be Gators, and he's going to be a quarterback. Right. I was their first, meaning you were their first experience with football. And if you could have made it go terribly wrong or awesomely right for them.
Right, absolutely.
And every move that you made, somewhat for your own ego, somewhat because you love the kids.
Oh, absolutely.
But every move you made helped them get to the position that they're in right now.
But what's awesome is the ones that are playing ball throughout the years that like I said, I've always fluctuated. I might have one year coached the 12s and 13s and then go down to the 9s and the 10s and 11s. I always fluctuated. So I got guys that are just about to graduate. I got guys, So I have another kid named Dorian Jones that I coached for a while. His dad used to play running back for the. He got drafted by the Redskins, and then he ended up playing for the Dolphins. He was also the MVP running back for the Miami Hurricanes when they beat Nebraska, I believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so he reaches out to me, and even though, you know what I'm saying, my experience with him was when he was young, up until the point, you know, he even invited me before he went to college to his, going away graduation party. That kid's always thanked me. He's always thanked me. He's always had other coaches, higher level coaches, but he's always told me, you know what, the way they used to push me and always prepare me mentally, like this is just ground level. If you keep pushing, how it's gonna come and how it's gonna affect your life later. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm always grateful for you laying down the groundwork. Basically, him saying, you laid down the groundwork with me. You taught me what hard work was about. And a lot of me doing what hard work is about, it goes to my upbringing with the whole wrestling thing. Like, I tell you straight up, and anybody who's on here or listening or whatever, there is no harder training than training yourself and preparing yourself to wrestle somebody that you don't know what they can do, what they're gonna do, what you're gonna see. Unless you physically go into their high school to scout them out. But
Did you put the trash bags on and run up and
all
down the
that,
hallways and all
all
that? Yeah.
that. I was never one that had like major issues with making weight. But yeah, I might drink a little bit too much soda, too much juice. I have maybe a pound or whatever. And I put the trash bag on and get rid of that in like 15, 20 minutes. You know what I mean? There's no big deal. No big deal. But I was never a person that had trouble with making weight.
Let me go back to coaching for 1 second, then we'll move on. So when you were coaching these kids, Saturdays, I guess usually with the games, you could probably practice once or twice a week. But how much time off the field were you?
Lots.
Were you in? I mean, and
every day
you could have been bowling, you could have been golfing, you could have just been sitting on watching a
every
movie.
day, brother. Every day, you're dealing with parents calling you every day. They think their son should be here, but I'm not putting them there. Or they want to say, can you try my son at this or do this? And that was just one thing with me and my other coach, Freddie. Like, look, we set a thing, and that's where a lot of other youth coaches, they want to please the parents. And I'm going to even take it further back. When I started out, I wanted to please everybody. I want to please everybody. I want to put their kid, hey, my son thinks he's the quarterback. And, okay, I give him a try. I might even throw him in the game. We're just bad. That's just bad. You know what I mean? If you want to get a program where people are going to listen to you, people are going to respect what you're doing, you just can't do that. If you know your kid's not a quarterback, then you need to be honest with them and say, listen, it doesn't mean that you're not a quarterback today and maybe not a quarterback for me, but, maybe you'll work over the summer. Next year, you'll get an opportunity with another team that you get picked and maybe you'll be quarterback there. But for right now, we have to go with what we think is best for the team. So, once you get past them feeling bad that they're not the quarterback and you get it through their parents' head, like, listen, man, this is the best. If we want to be successful, then we need to do it this way. And if we don't do it this way and then we're not successful, I'm not the one to blame. But I'm the one to blame if we go my route and things don't work out. You can tell me it's all my fault.
Did you ever have to tell a parent, look, Mr. Jones, you can't stop. He might want to take up choir or something like that because football's not for him.
To be honest with you, in the 15 years, I may have had like 5 incidences where I've said that. Where I've actually taken the kid to the side at the end of practice or maybe during practice or maybe during after he got stuck really good and now you can see like he doesn't want to come back. Yeah, he doesn't want to come back. I tell him, hey, man, maybe this situation is not for you. Maybe you're not prepared for this or maybe you're not mentally ready for this yet. Maybe you need another year or two to realize what you're ready for or whatever. But maybe this isn't for you. And I even ask them sometimes, does your dad want you to do this or do you want to do this? You know what I mean? If you want to do this and you want to continue and stick with it, dude, that's awesome. Let's get it going. And, I'm here to help you, whatever, or to get over the fear of being hit or getting hit or even making a hit. But whatever it is, You know what I'm saying? We need to figure it out so that you're not here in this position, because you being in this position that you are right now, not only are you going to hurt yourself, you're going to get someone else hurt because you're not willing now to step up and do what you need to do. Somebody else is going to get hurt because somebody on the other side of us is going to know that you're not that guy, so they don't have to worry about you. So now they're going to focus on the next strongest player or whatever. Or they might just put somebody that's just equal enough to you so that they can take that other person that's dominating you and go put it somewhere else that's needed. So we can't have that. You know what I mean? You can't have that. When we're kids, we want to win, we want to cheer, but we also want to also show them that, you know what I'm saying, if you don't follow direction or a program of something that's set, things are not going to happen, because it's the same way in life, right? If you don't follow a program with yourself, whether it's getting up every day to do something that you want to do or you feel that you want to do, you know what? Nothing's going to happen.
Did you ever think during the whole time that you were doing this that, wow, you know what, I'm a really important piece in these kids' lives and I can't F this up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I didn't, you know what, man, I'm going to tell you, I didn't realize that about myself in the beginning. But then once I started seeing more and more people and parents coming to me at the end of the year or maybe giving me a card, you know, like a thank you card, and then
card. I think
and then
like,
I wish I had got a card, bro. I wish. But you know the things that they say, like, dude, I've gotten letters from parents saying how I just changed their kid and they got more confidence in themselves and you know, they're not shy, and you know, like just all kind of stuff, you know, like that, like, you know, I've had kids, you know, they've branched off and they've done other sports, and you know, dude, it's very, very, very satisfying when you see these kids, and you know, and it's even more satisfying when you get a kid that don't know how to do nothing, and then at the end of the season you see him 10 times better than when he walked in. He may not still be that guy yet, but compared to the kid that came holding his mom's hand and, you know, making sure his mom is looking at him, and then mommy feeding him water, and you got to get him to break down that, you know, mommy's over there, you're over here, don't go over there, you know, stuff like that. But when you see them progress and change, and they have more confidence, that when they came, they were looking all sad and frail and like, you know, they weren't sure. But then at the end of the season, or when they're coming out for the game, you know, they're coming out, they do the heads up, confidence, they're trotting. Like, dude, that's awesome. There's nothing better than that. There really isn't.
So you've been out of coaching for a while. So
it's ever since COVID. Well, there was I did one season after COVID, and then I assistant coached a season after that, and then after that, I think you know, like I said, after the 15 years, and then we got that break during COVID. I kind of like the fact that, you know, I had some time to myself and to do things that I don't normally do. I got into golf, and I got like those years of football. I never golfed. I never did any of that stuff. I picked all that up later when I kind of like started to slow down and stuff like that.
Do you miss it at all?
Yeah, I do. Of course, yeah, I miss it. I miss the competition, you know. But like I said, I don't miss the phone calls. I don't miss the complaining. I don't miss. Dude, do you know how much you prep? And I don't even get paid for it. A lot of youth coaches don't get paid, but dude, we prep all week. We practice 3 or 4 times during the week. Friday night, I'm banging my head because I'm trying to think, where am I going to put this kid? Oh, they got this kind of running back and the 2 guards on their line. Who am I going to match up with them? And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for somebody that don't get paid to do it. Just does it for the love. I do it for the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I do it for the kids, and I do it because I like to win. I like to compete. You know what I mean? I've always been like that. So it's not, you know. So then when you get these parents that complain and this and I want this and I want that, dude, it makes it so hard sometimes.
You know, I discovered something, and I'm kind of pissed at myself that it took me so long to discover it. But there's drama everywhere.
Well, of course.
No matter where you go. So
doesn't matter. And it could be for the minimalist thing.
Yeah, you know? I've changed like my field. I've sold companies because like the money was good, but the drama was just draining. So I'm like, screw this. I don't need. I don't need the money. I want the peace from, and then I start something else, and there's drama. And then you go somewhere else, and there's drama. There's drama. There's drama.
Drama wherever you go.
There is,
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is either, man. It could be anything. You're gonna find somebody that's not happy or gonna complain about it.
Are you still following these kids? I mean,
Yeah. Like I said, I'll be honest with you. I follow the ones that follow me, and I follow the ones that communicate with me. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna harp and chase anybody that, you know what I'm saying. But the ones that, hey, what's up, coach, or like when they do their lives and I'm seeing their lives and I just go, hey, what's up, kid? I'm watching you. You know what I'm saying? They'll, hey, what up, coach? How you doing? You know, they all still call me coach and all that, and they're already on D1, D2 level, you know, of playing sports, you know what I mean? And they still give me the respect, call me coach, and when they see me, they hug me and all that good stuff. So all that stuff is satisfying. It's awesome, dude. It really is. One thing that I feel that I've done right for myself from a lot of wrong things that I've done when I was young and being dumb, is help the kids that I have helped. You know what I mean? Whether it was confidence or learning to stick up for yourself or speak up for yourself, whatever it is. When I hear them and they reach out to me and they say, "What's up, coach?" and thanks for laying the foundation down and helping me out and blah 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 blah. Dude, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, man, you're a good dude.
I appreciate it.
and I think that you sell yourself short on yourself sometimes, but I mean, I'm proud to be able to say, yeah, you know what, I'm tight with this guy. He's a good dude. So.
I appreciate that, AJ. You're straight too, buddy. You're a good guy as well. Hard worker and always thinking of the next move. You know.
That's you gotta think of the next.
You're right, but you know what, man?
Drama.
AJ, you see what's crazy? The way I talk about you and the way I view you. Sometimes I don't even take my own advice, and I don't do those things. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing too. I've always had a thing with, you know, myself is, you know, I give all this advice to these kids. They thank me and all that, but you know what? Sometimes I don't even take my own advice, and I hurt myself. You know what I'm saying? So.
But we all do. It's life, you know. Life is. It's not easy. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy. And
right.
We gotta screw up constantly.
Right.
So that we can learn. All right, that's a screw up. Let me not do that again. And by some point, we'll have it all figured out. And then we'll go into office and
hopefully it's not too late.
No, it'll be too late.
Because we're just getting older and older every day, my man. What's going on with the Yankees, bro? Shoot. They've given up. No, man. I know they're no 4-3, man. Stroman just gave up another home run, man.
Oh, did he? Why is my Bleacher Brothers? You know, on Bleacher Brothers now, Nick, we got box scores, live scores.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's not. It has not updated here yet, though. But I see that Rizzo finally hit a home run.
Yeah, Rizzo just hit one too. You know what I mean? Rizzo hit one.
Judge and Stanton got a couple doubles tonight.
Yes. What's
only the
name?
second inning.
Soto. It's only
wait a minute.
Fourth or the third.
What is going on with this box score we got here? It's telling me that Stroman pitched 2 innings. I got to refresh this sucker. I get it.
No, he's in right now. I'm watching it.
Damn.
I'm watching it right next to me.
No, I know. I got you. It's just it's not updating on my screen here. I'm looking at or am I just looking at the wrong thing? No, it says innings pitched too. All right. You have it as 3. All right. Let me. We're still working out the kinks here, but yeah, we got all this stuff flying and going here. Look, hey, you're a Knicks fan, right?
You know what? I kind of fell off with basketball. I do like the Knicks because they, you know, I root all my New York fans. I have all the New York teams, you know. But I was such a super hard, dude. AJ, I was such a super hard sports fan all over on all of it. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. Just life and doing other things. I kind of like, you know. But the Knicks been so irrelevant for so long that I kind of like slept on. Oh, I know. They've been good. They've been good on the last 2-3 seasons. They've been, you know, climbing, and you know.
Good time to jump on the wagon right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're about to dispatch the Sixers here in the next few days, and
yeah. Did you? Well, I think was it last night or the night before with that last second when they checked it in last night.
Last night, yeah,
homeboy hit the 3, missed it. Fought for the ball, they gave it back to him, sunk on the next one. I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah,
That's good
apparently there
stuff.
were a bunch of calls in that whole sequence of plays, a bunch of fouls that did not get called, which benefited
Right.
the Knicks. But at the end of the day, that's how it goes. You know what I mean?
Right. But they've been rolling, man. They've been doing really well. Got the number 2 seed. So
And their whole team was hurt for half
right.
the season. So for
Well,
able
isn't that when their major player Randall is
he's
out? Isn't
out.
he out?
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. But that Brunson's something else, ain't
Yeah,
he?
he's hot. He's definitely hot. I got the Knicks going to the NBA Finals. I don't think they
Really?
win. Yeah, I think that Boston is Boston, and Boston is always the team until they're not. And I think they'll get knocked off by the Knicks.
Well, I hope they do. Even though I haven't watched much basketball, I hope they do.
Yeah, you and me both, because I like for my picks to be right. So I'm rooting for them. The Rangers are really good. It's a good time to be a New York fan.
In New York.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The
The
Yankees are
Yankees are
playing
doing
good
great.
ball. I don't know about the Mets from across town, but
The Mets are doing better than expected, but they are.
they started out really bad.
Yeah, no, the last time I looked, and I can pull it up right here on BleacherBrothers.com. You go to BleacherBrothers.com. You want to know the standings and how the Mets are doing. You can pull it right up there. The Mets are in third place, man. They're 3.5 games out of first. They're 2 games over 500. They're 12 and
Well,
10.
that's good. That's good because I know they had people not even showing up to the game in the beginning.
They're 7-3 in their last 10. So the Mets are doing much
Well,
better.
that's good. Well, I know my cousins in the Santiago family are happy about that.
But I guess if you want to look at it like this, you got Atlanta in first, which, yeah, of course. The Phillies are second, of course. You get the Mets third, but then who's after them? Washington and the Marlins. Those are like teams that don't even belong in Major League Baseball. So you can look at it.
But you know what? Don't sleep on the Marlins like always. They always make a push for the playoffs at the end of the year.
They ain't pushing nothing this year, man. They're a horrible team right now. They are, well, White Sox have 3 wins. Somebody's got 5. Colorado's got 5. The Marlins are 6. They are not a good team at all.
I don't know. I don't know if you know that me and my mom go at it about the Marlins and the Yankees all the time.
Well, your mom likes the Marlins?
Oh yeah, she likes the Marlins. You know, she they root for the Marlins. So you know, I try to take her every once in a while with my dad to a game, and they love it. They hate the Yankees. My mom calls them a bunch of assholes because you know all the time she calls them assholes. But other than that, my mom's forever calling me. I know they lost today. Whatever. She hasn't called me all season yet. And then when I called her the series with the Yankees, she didn't even answer the phone.
Can you blame her?
Yeah, no, but you should hear some of the stuff. I gotta play one for you the next time we get together. I save them. I keep them because they're timeless, bro. She'll call, and if I don't answer, she'll be like, "What's the matter? I know you're crying. It's okay."
Oh.
Yeah, she's forever. Oh, I know you're crying, so it's okay. Don't answer the phone if you never.
You got to
yeah.
give me those voicemails. We can play them on the show. Your mom can become a character on the show. You can call your mom up
Next
and
time I
bust
see
her
you,
up.
man, I'm gonna make sure I pull it because it's in the cloud and you gotta like get it to download. But I have a good one that's saved that my mom calls me up and forever giving me static about the Yankees when they lose. But you know the crazy thing, she calls me every time they lose, and I tell her deep down you're a Yankee fan because you know when they win and they lose. So you're watching the game, you know?
My
But
theory
she's
is deep down, everybody is a Yankee fan.
yeah,
They just
no,
don't admit it. Like Britney Spears. Everybody's a Britney Spears fan, but they don't want to admit it.
They won't admit it, but when they hear that song, they know it.
Exactly. Ooh, I'm toxic. I'm like, what? You're toxic. All right. My wife did that for years. Hid in the closet with Britney, then came out. And I said, well, yeah, you know, Britney's crazy. So it makes sense. So you guys all like her. Hey, the Jets. So what are you more excited about? The new uniforms?
Nah, man.
Or Zach Wilson getting out of there?
To be honest with you, man, I think they should have just kept him.
Why?
Back up, dude. He knows the system. Why not? The reason, my personal feeling is the same thing with Sam Darnold. The whole reason of everything was they don't develop quarterbacks. That's one thing. Never did. Except,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? They never did. They never developed any quarterbacks. Then on top of that, dude, that offensive line has been garbage for I don't know how long. You know me, and we've always been talking. It's always the offensive line. You can even when like going back to the little kids. If you can't get the kids to at least block for a good 3 seconds, so that one of these the kid can have time to turn around and give the ball to somebody, dude, you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. Your quarterback's not going to do nothing. Your running back's not going to do nothing because there's no time to create a hole or space or even to make a decision to go left or right to try to break free. When they break free or something happens, it's just because snow. He got through. You know what I'm saying? Or he broke the tackle and that happened. You can't win no game when you got a quarterback. I don't care what level you on that touches the ball, and when he turns around to give it, you got defense on you, and it's just not gonna happen, dude.
Well, buddy,
So,
I got to tell you, man, there are a lot of people celebrating that he's
oh,
gone.
I know.
The only
I know.
people upset, they're upset that his mom is leaving because I guess his mom's a hottie.
His mom's a hottie. But you know what's gonna be crazy? Watch him go to there, and Sean Payton develops him into a quarterback.
Maybe.
Watch.
Maybe.
Watch. The boy can throw and he can run and he's good on the. He just with the pressure that was being on him, dude. He's trying to put the ball in spots that he got no business trying to put it in and stuff like that. But when the blocking was decent for him and stuff like that, dude, he produced. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, Nick, you're crazy or whatever, dude. Really pay attention to it. With an offensive line like we've had for the last 5 years or 6 years, dude, you ain't winning nothing with that. Nothing.
So how about the uniforms? Are you excited about the uniforms? Because I've seen these new uniforms. I don't know how they're any different than last year's uniforms.
No. It might be a cut here and they went with the older style lettering and stuff like that. That's about it. But other than that, it's the same thing. I'm not even getting hyped, man, because they do the same thing every year. Look, they made some good acquisitions. They boosted up the offensive line. We got a good wide receiver. We got this. So we'll see what happens. That's all I can do. But last year I got all, Aaron Rodgers and blah, blah. Look, 2 plays, 3 plays, he's gone. So you know what? I kind of like relaxing on getting all excited and as I go. When I see it, I'll believe it.
You would say that they can't be any worse next year, but the Jets will find a way.
We'll see. We'll see, brother. We'll see. I mean, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Like I said, I need to see something happen before I die. I need to see the Jets win before I die, bro. You know? I wear them on my sleeve. I got the little old jet plane logo on my arm. I mean, like, I got the New York Yankees. Like, dude, they got to do something. They got to do something someday. Our best days was with Vinny Testaverde, and then you had Chad Pennington. Like, those were the best days for me. You know what I mean? Because the other years when they were really good or whatever, back in the day, you know what I mean? I wasn't really old enough to appreciate any of that.
You know, there's places that can remove that jet off your arm and make it.
Nah, I live with it. I live with it.
What about this NFL draft? Is this something that you're into? Do you follow?
Nah.
Not at all. I mean, people have these massive parties. And
they have all these parties.
But
mock
draft.
I was never one of those. I was never into that. The fantasy and never into all that. I thought about doing it one time, and when I came over, and my friend had like 3 laptops, a 2-liter, a Coke, a pizza, and he was like, "This is what I do on Sunday. I'm flipping from laptop to laptop, looking at players," and I'm like, "Man, I ain't got time to do all that."
No, you know what's fun is you do the daily fantasy because I've done that.
Right.
So every week you pick a new team. I would pick it on the toilet Sunday morning. You have a salary cap. You play in a league. You can play, just in general. You can play in a league with like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. And it's fun. We've had one going for, I don't know, last 5, 6 years now where it's basically the same 10, 12 people every week. And it's, I think we play for $10 a piece a week. Winner gets all the money. And at the end of the season, everybody wins 2 or 3 times, and it ends up being fun. And there's no, you're not.
You guys you guys give a trophy and stuff for that?
No, we don't give anything. We say, all right,
You won.
Invitation in September when the season starts again. That's it. Yeah. There's no Super Bowl at the end. It's just week to week.
Right.
You play. You have a different team every week, and it's fun, and it takes up no time. And half the time, I forget to even look at it after I set the lineup. So I get a phone call from my brother. He's like, "Oh, you won again this week." I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't even look."
I did.
Yeah. So, all right. Hey, so
what's up?
Let's talk a little bit of
Yeah,
boxing.
let's do it, baby.
There was a fight this weekend. Your boy Garcia.
Yeah, Haney and Garcia, what a fight, right? Hey, listen, you want to know something crazy? I was telling everyone, put your money on Haney. I told everyone. And was I wrong? I was totally 100%
Nick is not a part
wrong.
of BleacherBET. Nick gives out no picks.
Hell no. Don't ever listen to me. Don't ever listen to me because, you might lose your dough.
So Garcia comes in like 3 pounds overweight.
He lost 1.5 million on that bet.
Yeah, that's nuts. And
Haney confirmed today or yesterday that he paid him up. He paid him.
I mean, he had no choice. So Haney retains the title, even though he lost because Garcia came in overweight. I didn't watch the whole fight in its entirety. I've seen clips. Garcia knocked him around quite a bit, and Garcia seems to have
first round, 7th round, and then I want to say the 11th round.
But it still was a close fight from what I'm gathering. At least in
the beginning.
Okay.
No, those scorecards were terrible. I don't know who was. Dude, how does anybody get 3 knockdowns? And in my view, there was actually 4 knockdowns, but 3 knockdowns, and then you're gonna have a 112, or you're gonna have this. Who wins any close decision or making it a close decision with a 3 knockdown in a fight?
So one of these judges is under investigation. I don't know if you know.
And I read today that the referee is too.
They found some money, mysterious money transfers going in and out of accounts.
Are you being for real?
I'm being. Look, I don't know this is fact. I know this is a report that I heard that there were money transfers, suspicious. And you know what they say? The kids say, "Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious."
No, but which judge was that? The card that was like one. It was like 112 to 1.
Yeah. Right? Didn't somebody call it a draw?
Yeah. One called it a draw, and then you had another card that was like way off. It was like 117 or 108 or something. Like it was something really ridiculous. And then you had one card that was fair. And with Ryan winning by, I think it was 1 or 2 points. You know what I'm saying?
So Ryan looks like he bulked up a lot since he fought Tank.
Because of the hydration clause he had against Tank.
Okay.
He had a hydration clause that he couldn't come back to the fight after weigh-ins weighing more than 5 pounds than 140 or 135 or whatever it was at that time. But he couldn't come back on fight night more than 5 pounds.
Yeah,
so that's a big difference.
No, that's a huge difference. Some of these guys gain 15, 20 pounds between the time they go into the ring.
Easy. Just in liquid alone, you're gonna probably put about 10, 15 pounds just in fluid. You know what I mean?
You've seen Tank up close and personal.
Absolutely.
Does he walk around pretty much at his fighting weight?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the true 140. That's why he makes all these guys dehydrate, or he's keeping them at a low weight because, dude, he's a little guy, dude. He's small, dude. He's probably. I'm not trying to disrespect him or anything, but if I'm not mistaken, he's got to be probably maybe 5'5", maybe.
There's no
I don't know
for that. I'm barely bigger than that, so there's no.
You know what I'm saying?
Respect.
But the dude is like he's like ripped. and he's solid. Like like a little dude like that would tear you up. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him before.
He's taken the Floyd Mayweather school of setting these fights up, and because Mayweather used to do the hydration clause, because Mayweather was a guy. You remember the 24/7s, and then they gave him all access, where Mayweather would be eating McDonald's at 2:00 in the morning, French fries. He's like, "This is what I weigh. I don't have to lose weight. I don't gain weight. This is just what I weigh. So that's not a stress. And then I'm not going to let." I'm not going to let other guys come in and push me around because I get to call the shots. Kind of like what Canelo's trying to do right now.
Right.
But I think Floyd.
We'll see with that fight soon.
Better way. I haven't dug deep into Canelo's fight yet against what's it? Mungia. But Mungia is no pushover and no joke. And he could put Canelo to sleep. I'm not thinking what's going to happen.
He could.
Look at it though.
He could, but you know what? They're going back to the Haney thing. This is the second time that I've seen Haney lose. He lost Saturday night because he got embarrassed, dude. He couldn't stop that left hook for nothing. And the crazy thing is, he said that he trained for the left hook. I don't know what training you were doing, because every time you got knocked down, it was from the left hook.
And Haney was undefeated coming in, right?
Yeah, dude, he was undefeated. I think he's like, if I'm not mistaken, like 21-0 or something with 15 knockouts, or 31-0 with 15 knockouts, something like that. He's up there. He's up there. His winning record is more than Ryan and Shakur and everybody else's. You know what I mean? But I think after what happened, because Lomachenko beat him, and Lomachenko exposed him for his chin and all, because Lomachenko hit him a couple times and had him shook too. But hey, Saturday night, Ryan came out the gate, hit him with that left. He was running around like a brand new born deer. You know what I'm saying? His legs were wobbly. I mean, it was unbelievable. But he couldn't stop that left hook for nothing. And then in the 7th round, when he got a point taken away,
who got a point taken away? Garcia?
Ryan got a point taken away in the 7th round. Okay. This guy, Harvey Dock, which is the referee, he's under investigation. I read today that he's under investigation by what he was doing. Dude, he was giving every chance in the world to Haney to recover and recoup. Like, dude, Haney was holding on. Ryan was doing his best to get him off because, so he can finish him off and keep putting it on him. And the referee, keeping him separated longer than he had to. Then he's grabbing Haney's hands, rubbing it on his shirts like they normally do. But it was just funny that it was just taking too long.
Stall tactics,
yeah. It was that's what I'm saying. That's why I guess he's under investigation for all that. But in the 7th round, he gets knocked down. Then they go at it because it was early in the 7th round. Then, Ryan hits him and clips him again. Haney's doing everything possible to hold on. Ryan is running, pushing him and going backwards. As soon as he lets go, Haney falls on the floor. He doesn't count that as a knockdown. You hear boos, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe 15, 20 seconds later, Ryan hit him with another one, made him doozy again. And, he's holding on, falls all over the floor, put his glove down. He gave him again. So while he was holding on, they were trying to break off. Ryan is trying to break him off. And then as the referee was just getting ready to get in between them, Ryan just gave him like a bat on the side of the head, and the referee took a point away. But, this is all in the process that Ryan is trying to get him off so I can finish him because he's wobbly legs. You know what I mean? And this guy just giving him all the chances in the world for him to recoup and recover to try to, get back into the fight.
If there was a real governing body for all of boxing, because it's different. WBA has theirs, WBC has theirs, IBF has. It's really, there's rules, but there's no rules. If there was a real investigation, boxing is so unbelievably fair.
Yeah.
It's not far off than WWE.
No. I mean, there's a lot of politics. And in that game, any of those fight games, there's a lot of politics, dude. There's too much money, man. There's too much money, and people to maneuver and
and
dude,
now
it's just
especially with gambling being legal
right.
everywhere.
Oh, go talking about gambling. Look at Ryan. He put $2 million on himself, and he ended up
I
winning
saw
like
that.
12.
I saw-
He won 12.
So why does this doofus now want to fight Sugar Shane O'Malley? That's what I read today.
Oh, because O'Malley was talking shit about him.
But that's what O'Malley does. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but O'Malley was saying that, saying he could come into the ring and do that. You know what I mean?
okay, so O'Malley, it's going to be a boxing match. Okay, all right.
Listen,
Okay.
man, there's no way in hell any boxer is going to go into the octagon and actually do something. If any boxer thinks that they can do that, they're crazy. Because once one of these guys get a hold of you and put you in a rear naked choke or any of that, you can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do a shoot on you, take your legs out, take you on the takedown on the floor, and then they're gonna choke you out, whatever. You don't know what to do. So that's why these guys in the MMA come over to the boxing.
And that's
Because
where the money is also.
Right, where the money's there, and they got a 50-50 chance. Most likely the boxer's going to win because of his skill level and his hand speed and his precision to hit where he needs to hit, where, saying that UFC guys are not like that. But there are a few, UFC guys that can throw their hands, you know what I mean? But, hey, anybody in the square ring got a 50-50 chance because all it takes is that right situation and that right hole to open up and that right punch to come through, and you're done.
I've interviewed O'Malley in the past in person.
Really?
He's a tiny dude.
Is he?
Yeah, he's small. I mean, really small.
What's he like, in the 140s?
Maybe if that.
I mean, if he's calling out Ryan, he's probably in that realm between 140 and 160. You know.
It was 2 years ago, so I'm sure the dude is, because he's young, so I'm sure he's filling out at this point. But yeah, he's a small dude. He's a cocky dude. He was cocky then, and he really wasn't a big name at that point. He was an up and comer. Now that he's the champion,
right?
I don't know. He was a really cool dude when we interviewed him, but for some reason
he seems like a cool guy. Seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
But you know what? They're all. If you find the right niche when you meet them, when you get to talk to them, or if you know something that they like or whatever, and you bring that kind of stuff up, they're pretty cool, man. I mean, I've you know what I do on the side and stuff, and I've run into guys, dude, that they're not that happy when I get there, and then all of a sudden, man, you start talking about maybe their last fight or their opponent that they're getting ready. You like engage, like, yo, man, how do you feel about that? And then once they start talking, they're good. And then by the end of the time you leave, they're like, hey, man, you all right. This and this and that. You're different than the other guy that came. And so, it just depends, man. You got to feel people out. It's just like, you being a salesman. You got to feel the guy out before you know what I mean? So you know which direction you're going to bring this guy to get that sale. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Everybody's got their hot buttons, they're called.
Right. So, you find the right niche to say the right thing, and you get them engaged. Once you get them engaged, then, they forget all about what they were upset about you showing up at 6 a.m. All
right, I got a quiz for you. All right.
Yeah. All right, good.
Israel Medrivov.
Masvidal.
Madriov. Madrimov.
We're so bad at
names. Who is he? Do you know who this guy is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so this is Terrence Crawford's next fight.
Oh, okay. Oh, I saw that today.
He's the WBA 154 title holder. Here's his record: 10-0 with 1 draw and 7 knockouts. Why? The only thing that I can think of is this is Terrence going up in weight to drop this chump in 2 rounds so that he can go up a weight again and get the Canelo fight. That's the only way this makes sense. No one's going to buy this. They can't sell it. If they put it on pay-per-view, they need to...
They're not going to make no sales. You better make the undercard better.
Yeah, this better be like on... This needs to be on the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul undercard to make any money.
Well, they made that announcement. My girl's going to be fighting on the undercard. Soriano.
Well, kind of expected. That's almost always, right?
Yeah, well, most of the time when Jake's involved, yeah. But she's fighting the rematch because remember she didn't get to fight in Madison Square Garden
Yeah.
with that retina cut or whatever in
Yep.
her eye. So they're doing the rematch. They're doing the rematch because this girl that she's fighting beat her. Now
Okay.
I saw that fight. I didn't think she won. It was a close fight, and I thought Amanda did enough to win, but she didn't win. She lost by decision. So everybody's been waiting for this little rematch.
Do you know the rules on this Tyson fight? Because I hear something different every day.
It's exhibition. It's exhibition, but according to Mike Tyson, he said if you look at the rules of exhibition, there is no rules. So, you know what I mean?
What is he supposed to say though? He's got to sell the
Yeah,
fight, right?
absolutely. He's got to sell the fight. But man, like I said, I give Jake a puncher's chance, just like I said about anybody else. But in reality, he's never had an animal like this, even at 58 years old, that's gonna come at him. Everyone he's been fighting is, you know what I'm saying? They're a basketball player or MMA, so they're backing up. Tyson ain't backing up for Jack. He ain't backing up for nobody. He's gonna come just the way that you see him in those videos. He's gonna come forward, and Jake's not gonna know what to do with that kind of pressure. Now, if he takes a beating and he lasts, like I told you a week or two ago, maybe 5-6 rounds, because it's only going, I think, 8. You know what I'm saying? He might have a chance, dude. Because Mike is gonna be out of gas. His age is gonna show. His age is gonna show then. But out the gate, I give Mike Tyson the first 2-3 rounds. He's gonna beat the dog crap out of him.
If he tries, if it's scripted, which would really suck.
I don't think it would be scripted. I think Mike has too much respect with all the knowledge and all the greats that he's talked to and talks about. I don't think that he would go in there and sell out like that.
But Mike is high all the time. So
Yeah,
but
he's
gonna...
a competitor, bro. He's a competitor, and when it comes to competing, he's just like anybody else. They don't want to lose. They're not gonna lose. He has an ego. His ego is that I'm 58 years old and I can still hang with the best of them. I don't think he would disrespect the game like that. I really think he's gonna go in there and do exactly like he's been saying in these videos. He's going in there to show Jake that this is no joke. You need to put in the work. Can't be fighting MMA dudes and retired basketball players and think that you're fighting. You know what I'm saying? Because in all honesty, look at Tommy Fury. Was the only guy that came out that has a boxing record, and I don't even think Tommy Fury has all that great skill. You know what I mean? For having his dad and his brother and everybody else that are at the level they are, I would think Tommy Fury would be so much better. You know what I'm saying? Coming up in the game. You know what I mean? It's like going back with these kids. I've seen kids that I've coached their brother, and they little brothers coming to the practice, running around, watching. And I've always told their parents, I said, you watch that your littlest one is going to be the best one out of all of them. And the reason why he's going to be the best one is because he goes to the practices. He goes when you go to your one-on-one lessons with your private coach, and he's listening and he's learning all this. He may not be absorbing it, knowing everything, but he's seeing what's going on and he's absorbing it. That to the fact that when it comes his time to go through those drills when he's a little older, dude, he's gonna know how to ace it because I was doing that when my brother was training with coach so-and-so or at his practice. I was doing that messing around. So his level and his understanding to absorb it and to attack that situation, great, is going to be a lot better than the other guys because he's already seen it through his other brothers and experienced it through his other brothers or his cousins or his brothers or whatever the case may be. But because he's seen it and been around it, he's going to execute it way better and he's going to understand it better. And I say the same thing. I think Tommy Fury would be a whole lot better considering you got your older brother or your uncle and all these other fighters ahead of you. You figure you were in the gym, you've been watching. So I would think he was better, but hey, man, that's the way boxing goes. Some look good, some don't. But who knows, bro? Maybe Tommy Fury's punch is something that is devastating. I don't know. All I know is
it ain't no Iron Mike punch.
No. I don't know. Have you seen any of Mike's videos?
Yeah, I saw one yesterday. Yeah, I've seen all the videos. I don't know how old they are, but I saw one yesterday that seems recent, and it was Mike running, and he ran about 20 feet, and he looked like he was going to have a heart attack. Seriously, I swear. I swear.
Oh, snap,
So much of what they're putting out there is staged right now. Him and what's his name? Briggs fighting
Oh,
out
you
in
saw
the
that one? You
street.
saw that one in the
Yeah, with
street?
no shirts on. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was like in the Bronx or something. It looked like it was like somewhere
Yeah.
in New York because they
It-
were there for the Haney fight.
Yeah, it was probably in Brooklyn because they're both
Yeah,
from
so it's right.
Brooklyn.
They're
And
both from Brooklyn, so they're probably visiting the neighborhood or whatever, and they were just like, "Yo, let's make it look like how we used to do it. Take the shirts off and right here on the sidewalk."
he's gotta sell his fight.
Oh,
So
no doubt, no
Nick,
doubt.
I want to get you in next week because I want to talk MMA. I want to talk UFC. We took a couple after 300. I took some clips. I don't even know who these guys are. So you're gonna bring me up
I
to
only
speed?
watched. I'm gonna tell you the truth on that 300 card. I watched the last two fights, the undercard and the main event, which was Max Holloway and Gaethje.
Yeah,
Now,
so
that was a fight.
So Gaethje is one of the ones. I put it up on our YouTube Shorts. All right, we're leaning away from TikTok because we're making traction. But this thing blew up on YouTube Shorts.
What the knockout?
The knockout, yeah. And then I found some ones that people made up that I downloaded those and put them up where he knocks the guy out and the guy rolls and he starts rolling into his grave.
Yeah,
I mean, these things got traction.
The internet is crazy, right? The way people come up with stuff.
It is.
It's crazy, man.
It's nuts.
But that fight was great, bro. They were swinging, bleeding, banging each other, dude. Their faces showed all the action that they were involved in. And then when Max Holloway caught him with that punch, dude, Gaethje fell straight to his face and was out.
Yeah, was and it like I said, it's got a lot of views. It's got a lot of comments. I mean, that one, the knockout's got 23,000 views. The one of the guy rolling into the grave's got 10,000 views. These are YouTube numbers for us. So next week also, I'm going to try to coordinate because I'm going to go to Luker here because he's got to get out and go produce another show, and then I'm going to put a bow on this. But I'm going to try to get Chase Brooks on too because he's fighting, and I don't like this. He's fighting kickboxing rules, no elbows. I don't like that at all. So we got to talk.
He can't do the Muay Thai elbow. Huh?
That's what he's known for. He's elbows, man. So Nick the Flick, dude, I appreciate you hanging in there.
Oh, anytime, brother. Anytime, man.
I'll call you. We'll get you in next week in studio, and we'll get into everything else that's going on.
Sounds good, man. Sounds like a plan,
all right,
baby.
Man, appreciate it. Have a
all right, man. Hey, everybody out there, Bleacher Brothers, make sure you log on, baby, because we're always coming at you with the sports, man. Hey, everybody out there, have a good night. AJ, I'll catch you another day.
Sounds good, Nick. Nick the Flick.
Bro.
That wasn't me. All right, the Suns are up 46-40 against the Timberwolves right now. Yes. The Bucks are up 9-5 against the Pacers right now. I know. The Pirates are up 2-1. Now it's saying 10-5 for the Bucks. The score just updated itself automatically for me. The Pirates are up 2-1 in the top of the 8th inning against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cincinnati Reds are up 7-1 against the Phillies in the top of the 7th inning. We're tied in Washington with the Nationals and Dodgers, one apiece in the top of the 7th. And the top of the 8th inning in Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Rays are up 2-1 against the Detroit Tigers. And the bottom of the 6th inning, the Yankees are up 4-3 right now. And other baseball games, we have the Atlanta Braves up 5-0 against the Miami Marlins. The Toronto Blue Jays are up against Kansas City Royals in the top of the 4th inning. The Marlins game is in top of the 7th. The Chicago White Sox are up 3-1 against the Minnesota Twins in the top of the 4th inning. The Cubs are up 5-0 against the Houston Astros. Now it's 5-1 Houston. The Cubs and Astros, it's 5-1 Cubs right now. The Arizona Diamondbacks are up 4-1 against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Seattle Mariners are up 4-0 against the Texas Rangers. Scoreless in Colorado with the Padres and Rockies. That game is just started. That's in the top of the 1st. And the second period in the NHL, the New York Rangers are up 3-2 against the Washington Capitals. The Florida Panthers are up 2-1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And we're going to give you 3 on this day in history. 1995, Howard Cosell, sportscaster of Monday Night Football, passes away on this day. I'll give a good one. 1989. 1989, Nolan Ryan of the Texas Rangers comes with and 2 outs of his 6th career no-hitter, losing it with Nelson Laureano. Hits a triple in the 9th inning. Texas beats the Toronto Blue Jays at 4-1 as Ryan finishes his 10th lifetime one-hitter. Yep. Yep. And you get to do it all by yourself. There's no Tom, so you get to have the show to yourself.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind. Oh, she's hot but a psycho, so left but she's right though. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind. She'll make you curse, but she a blessing. She'll rip your shirt within a second. You'll be coming back for seconds with your play. You just can't help it. You'll play along, let her lead you on. You'll be saying no, then saying yes, cause you're messing with your head. Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind. Oh, she's hot but a psycho, so left but she's right though. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind. me so sweet. Don't sugarcoat it, no. No, you'll play along. Let her lead you on. You'll be saying no, 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 no. Don't say yes, 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 'cause you're messing with your head. Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, my mind. Oh, she's hot but a psycho, so left but she's right though. At night she's screaming, my mind. Grab a shotgun, kinda crazy. She's poison but tasty. Yeah, people say run, don't walk away. 'Cause she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, my mind. You're just like me, you're out your mind. I know it's strange, we're both the crazy kind. You're telling me that I'm insane, but don't pretend that you don't love the pain. Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, my mind. Oh, she's hot but a psycho, so left but she's right though.
All right, we got to put a bow on this thing tonight here. Damn it, Luch. I needed less goals. The other night I needed more goals and you didn't help me out. Now your Rangers screwed me again tonight, man. I am going to, and this is really, really, really great right here. All right, I'm going to give you, I'm not a chaser when it comes to this stuff, but I'm going to give you one that you can still get in on. All right, and I'm very, very, very confident in this. The over 6.5 in the Colorado-Winnipeg game. If you don't have an account, if you're a heavy hitter, if you got your Christmas bonus, and it just came through today, if you get your income tax checks back, you get money burning a hole in your pocket, go, see, download, click the link. It's down in the bio. Go to our website, find the Caesars link. The BleacherBET promo is they will give you up to $1,000 back on your first bet if it doesn't win. Got to be a new account. So if you're already established with Caesars, it's not going to work for you. But if I didn't already have a Caesars account and I could access it here in Florida, I would immediately go and hit this game and just go with the over. That's what I am going to do when I get off the air tonight. Remember, 21 or older. And if you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Don't spend your last few bucks hoping that something that some doofus on your screen here said was going to come out. What we didn't get to tonight, and hopefully we can fit it in tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is jam-packed, all right? We're working on, well, you heard me earlier. If you heard me with John Arbeznik, it was absolutely fantastic. Great guest. Him and Nick both. I could do 3 hours with each one of them. And a shout out to Steven, who held it down tonight without Chef Tom, without anybody else in the house. It was just me and him and our guests. But we didn't get to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is rumors that she set to sign an 8-year deal with Nike for $28 million. But then Steven found something that says it's completely false. And we were going to look at both of those stories. Also, Clark's Indiana Fever jersey in this very little short time, whatever it is, a week, 2, I forget, has outsold the Cowboys' entire team jerseys for the entire year. So, man, WNBA might be really going to some primetime stuff here. We're going to get into esports with Steven a little bit, because we found out that we get a whole section of esports in our website. I don't even know what the hell it is. So Steven's up on esports, and hopefully we'll get to that possibly tomorrow. But we may not tomorrow. If not, we'll table that till next week. We're working on Mellows for tomorrow night. We do have Bill Perkins' Top Fan Rivalry tomorrow night to come in and kind of wrap at least my week up with some baseball talk. And we got Jerron Morris, former NCAA football star, who's he's in the draft. So he's going to be the last guy that we talk to this week about what are you going through right now? What are you feeling right now? What's it like right now? What else did we miss on here? Up next, the LaStella Report with Robbie LaStella, Christian, or CP as we call him. You got Toby sitting in. I'm not sure if Drew's there tonight or not. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., you get the Pete Shepard Show. After that, at 10 a.m., you got Defoe and Martinez and Defoe unscripted. And then immediately after that, you got White Noise with Gerald White and his fantastic guest tomorrow. I had to hit on a couple of our sponsors here real quick because we got sponsors and we got to thank them. And these were supposed to be done earlier, so I'm playing catch up. Century PC, especially for somebody out there who's got kids, all right? Have you ever wondered what the hell your kids are looking at on their iPads, on their phones, on their computers when you're not around? Now you can find out. Century PC, and if you're an employer also, you have employees. I used to be in this position. We had 100 people in a call center, computers, and it never seemed like production is where it should be. And I brought a guy in and spent a ton of money to lock those suckers down so they couldn't access anything. But now you don't have to do all that. A simple download from Century PC gives you what they do is they bring you basically security for everything. They combine award-winning computer monitoring, content filtering, time management features all into one simple to use software, allowing you to monitor, filter, and control what people do on the computer and on the internet. See what applications they're using, what websites they've been to, what their keystrokes are, who they're chatting with. You can see and control it all with Century PC. They've got plans for businesses, schools, families. Let Century PC never leave you wondering. CenturyPC.com. There is a special Bleacher Brothers discount with Century PC as they're one of our sponsors. So if you go to our website, it's on most pages. They have a banner ad. I think right at the top of the MLB page is one. I'll go there right now. Yeah, it is Century PC. If you go to the MLB page, not only can you get scores and standings and stats and teams and transactions and historical data, but you can get your ads right there also. Shout out to John Arbeznik. Shout out to Nick the Flick. Shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight. We appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Thursday night, I will not be here, but in my place will be a live show. The LaStella Report is hosting. Robbie LaStella is hosting the Bleacher Brothers show that night. Steven will be producing. Chef Tom, I'm sure, will be here. You'll have CP. You'll have Toby. The whole crew will be here other than me. And they got a gigantic guest. This is one of his first big interviews since taking over the head basketball coaching job at FAU. John Jackus will be here with the guys on Thursday night. Christian or CP will be checking in live from the NFL draft in Detroit. And they got a bunch of other stuff planned. So again, Pete Shepard at 7, Martinez and Defoe at 10, White Noise at noon. Little bit of a break where there's going to be some best ofs or some reruns playing. Coach Gene and Talk Spicy on at 4 o'clock tomorrow from 4 to 6. And then we are back tomorrow night after Coach Gene. So for Stephen Luker and the entire team here at Bleacher Brothers, I'm going to sign off. Appreciate you tuning in. Spread the word. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your buddies. And jump on our promos. Check out our website. Every day we're adding more and more and more. And sports betting, we are raising the level here with the friends that we're making in the industry, taking it to another level of promo. So everybody have a fantastic night. Stay tuned for the LaStella Report. I will catch you all tomorrow. All right, same time, same place, same station.